What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 4 of the Parker Chronicles show, where we talk, dissect, and just have a good time talking about our favorite movies. And this is the final episode of the Monsterverse. Today we are talking about Godzilla vs. Kong, which I'm very excited to talk about. And to introduce our guests today, well, we have our co-host Nemesis Angel over here, over somewhere, wherever I'm pointing. And then we have DNA Gaming over there, the coolest couple on Twitch, and the Godzilla guru himself, Umbreon Untamed. Welcome again, everybody. Thanks for being here. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Always love that you guys agree to do this with me. You know, it always warms my heart. So thank you.
Wouldn't trade it for the world.
So yeah, we're here again, episode 4. I can't believe we've been already done. We're already done, pretty much done with the Monsterverse. We're done with almost done with our first series. First things first, chat. This podcast will not be 3 hours long. All right, people have to be up, early in the morning.
Or just people want to sleep.
Or people just want to sleep, right? Yes. So this podcast will not be 3 hours long. But I appreciate everybody who hung out 2 weeks ago. Sorry. To watch our crazy Godzilla King of the Monsters episode. And also, chat, since we are doing Godzilla vs. Kong today was actually supposed to be episode 1 of the Jaws in review, but we didn't have an episode last week. So next week, which is May 16th, will be episode 1 of Jaws in review. So stay tuned for that. I've just got to pull up IMDb because I need to know the release date of this movie. I know.
I won't be in this room.
No, new scenery for Nemesis. And also this week, chat, we are going to be getting the show put on podcast services, at least some sort of podcast service. So you got anybody who can't watch the show live or can't watch a VOD or doesn't want to watch it on YouTube. It will be put on some sort of podcast service this week. I am going to be
March 31st, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. Yeah, I just popped it up. I just needed to have those, basic information. All right. So, to start off, actually, let's turn off Spotify. I don't even know why it's still on. All right, so today we are talking about Godzilla vs. Kong, released on March 31st, 2021. Directed by Adam Wingard, which I've never heard of this director. Let me click on his name and see what he has done in his career.
I don't remember.
He directed a movie. He directed the latest Blair Witch movie in 2016. He directed The Guest in 2014. You're Next, which I heard was a fantastic horror thriller movie. And VHS in 2012.
He directed Death Note too, which I watched.
Oh,
that was
right.
on
yes,
Netflix original.
Yeah, the Bruce Willis Death Note. Right. Which did not get very good reviews, but yeah, it is what it is. Go away. Oh no. What did I do? I fucked up.
You told it to go away.
I was trying to turn him down and it just screwed everything up. So yeah, so we got so directed by Adam Wingard. This is actually the shortest movie in the Monsterverse at 1 hour and 53 minutes, which, to be honest, watching it again when I watched it last Saturday, watching it again, it was perfect. I think it was perfectly paced. I don't know if I was bored at all throughout this movie. There were some parts where I was like, okay, this is we can move on from this. But I think I was in especially the fights between Godzilla and Kong, man, so good. So good. We do have some returning cast members. We have Millie Bobby Brown coming back in a pretty big role. Kyle Chandler, non-existent in this movie. Literally non-existent in this movie. He was literally in this movie for probably 5 minutes. Maybe.
That might be pushing it.
Yeah.
I think you're stretching it a bit.
Who else? I mean, were those the only two that returned? I think that's it.
Mostly, I think. Yeah, I think you're right.
So. But we have some new people here. We have Alexander Skarsgård, Rebecca Hall from Iron Man 3. She's been in a bunch of stuff. Brian Tyree Henry, Isa Gonzalez, who in my eyes is the worst character in this movie, other than the person who plays her father, who I love, Damian Bashir. I love him. He's a fantastic actor. If you've never seen the show The Bridge, watch it. He's amazing in it. Thunder Ronan, thank you so much for the biddies. I see you there. Appreciate you. Lance Redick, literally in this movie for 20 seconds. If anyone doesn't know who Lance Redick is, he does a voice in the Destiny games. I can't remember the character. Zavala. He's Zavala in Destiny 1 and 2, which I think a lot of people might know him from if you're into video games. But also he was in the John Wick movies. You got something else? Anybody else? He's awesome, but he was in this movie for 20 seconds and it really annoyed me. When I saw his name in the credits in the beginning of the movie, I was like, Lance Reddick's in this. And then he shows up and then he's gone and you never see him again. And you're like, well, damn, that's it. But yeah, since Dan's off screen, we'll start with Umbreon. What do you think of this film?
Well, with this movie being the most recent one, it's definitely the one that's more fresh in mind. The roller coaster of waiting for this movie to release, because it was originally supposed to release right before COVID.
Yep.
And then COVID hit, which got pushed back to November.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got to August, we still had no trailer, no nothing. And then it got pushed back to November of this year. And then all of a sudden it got pulled up to March. And we're like, okay, that massive shift. Okay, maybe this is going to be good. And honestly, I think the movie met and smashed expectations. The movie is very transparent that giant monkey, big lizard fight.
Yep.
Like that is what you get. That is
100%.
where we're at. And pacing was good. The movie was good. Some characters, which I'll get into later, that I truly didn't care for. Some characters I didn't expect to enjoy and fall in love with. But front to back, absolutely enjoy the movie. I'll leave it at that.
All right, DNA.
Do you have you go before me because I guess a lot. Okay.
You had.
All right, fair
you
enough.
were
Okay.
trying to speak.
I've seen this movie twice. I watched it in theaters and at home the same day. The second time, it felt like the movie dragged a little bit. There's two main subplots in this film. One of them could have been dropped entirely.
I agree.
I hate the massive changes they did in this film compared to the last one. It's like, because the last one didn't do well, and like, let's change all this little stuff and then just to try to make it different. And I don't think it served the film very well. And obviously the fights are great. I mean, that's the only reason obviously most people should go to see it.
Right.
But just changing some characters just really annoyed me. And if I remember correctly, this was the only one of the Monsterverse films that this was I think Kong Skull Island was the only one that wasn't delayed. All the other ones were delayed. Every single one of them. But that's
yeah,
I
know.
Was the first one delayed?
It was supposed to come out in 2012.
Oh yeah, that's right, because we had the 2011 teaser. Gotcha.
Yep.
Interesting. All right, Aradella.
I agree. I found parts of the movie that could have easily been left out, but other than that, I thought it was great. Not much more to say.
That's fine. Nemesis.
So I like the movie also, but the one thing I'll say that I was a little annoyed about, but I think other people disagree, is I don't like that they kind of just all of a sudden have Kong captured in this thing. Like, I feel like the movie wasn't that long. There could have been a way of saying how they did it. Because if you're going to capture this big ape, monkey, whatever,
Ape.
to fight a big lizard, how did you get it into this containment area? And like, you went to an island and he destroyed all these helicopters, destroyed all these things,
right.
but then they just skipped to it. They're like, oh nope, we have them. Like that kind of bothered me. I was like,
for me, with that those are those that everything you're saying about like they should have included that. That's something that if they did include, a lot of people would like they could have cut that out. Like that's a scene that's very like it's kind of a double-edged sword where either people are going to be hard fought on like, yeah, that was really good, and then there's some people will be like, man, that was kind of unnecessary. Like, especially since there's such a time jump. It's 51 years between Kong Skull Island
it is,
and
but
this movie.
he's getting bigger and he's becoming tougher, but something like that where he's already captured and they make it look like so simple in the movie, that kind of takes away from how tough or strong this Titan is, because if humans can kind of just take it into containment like it's any other animal, like I don't know, that part just kind of bothers. Like this thing is just because it's way bigger than it was
in Kong Skull Island,
Kong Skull, and for them to just go to this island and pick it up like it's anything else and just bring it to this little containment area and be like, okay, we're gonna hold you until we need to use you. That was kind of, to me, it kind of took away from how tough Kong really is.
So what I'm willing to bet, and I only say because I've not read it yet, there was, of course, leading up to this one, there was a pre-novelization or a visual comic book tie-in that leads into the beginning. I've not picked it up yet, not read it yet, but I'm almost willing to bet that it's more likely explained in the book how they made it happen. So it's going to be another one of those, if you read it and you know, then you know. Otherwise, yeah, absolutely makes no sense of, hey, he's here. That's what you get.
Well, also because they mentioned, I don't know, at this point, essentially, they mentioned that you guys may have said this, I'm sorry because I stepped away. You mentioned that the island was enveloped by the storms.
No,
and it may have been involved.
Yeah.
Well,
keep going.
I mean, yeah, sorry. But anyway, the island was enveloped by the storms at some point. And I won't go any further than that, but it may have almost been a voluntary thing, even though I know obviously there's shows otherwise by what he does in there, but he may just not be happy where he's at. I mean, why be outside in storms constantly?
Right.
So, I mean, but whatever. I don't know. It's just a guess.
No, I mean, I actually like that thought process as well. Like, I would subscribe to that being canon.
My thoughts on this movie were, I had a lot of fun with it. The monster fights between Godzilla and Kong were awesome. Like they kept, like I was like a little kid watching Jurassic Park for the first time, just in awe of the fights and like just the different situations, like the fight on the boat, like just the way that, you feel like, Kong is in such a disadvantage because he has to but he figures out certain ways to keep himself in the fight, even though he loses the fight. It was so, I think it was so well, the thought process with the fights were so thought out that I feel like the human parts just weren't. They're like, yeah, guys, we got this figured out. The humans, we'll get there. And then they forgot. And then we're like, oh, well, I guess this is what we're getting. My other thing before I forget, the only thing that bothers me is the scaling of these creatures. They say there's I think Godzilla in this film is 391 feet and Kong is like 340 or 350 feet. They do not look that big. The Kong in Kong Skull Island looks bigger than this Kong looks just from the scaling. And I didn't like that. Every time I'd see him, I'm like, he does not look that big. There's no way. Even when they're fighting in Hong Kong, it just didn't, the scaling just seemed wrong. And
see, I didn't even know he was bigger until you told me.
He's like 250 feet taller in this movie than he was in Kong's Skull Island. He was only 104 feet tall in Kong Skull Island. He's like 350 in this. And it just didn't seem that way. This Kong, I know this Kong is like 50 years older than he was in Skull Island. He's going to be aged. And I feel like that's probably why he's like a lot of, like we were talking about in Kong Skull Island was, he he acts more humanoid, like he walks on 2 feet. He's very upright because he's younger, where in this movie he's a lot older, so he's more,
Yep.
he's on all fours all the time. But that I
Before
don't know,
you go
the
any
scaling
farther,
bothered me.
I feel like the scaling issue's been an ongoing thing with them, because even we talked about it for Kong Skull Island, his parents didn't look very big at all
No.
when they go to the gravesite.
No.
So,
But Godzilla was the same way. Like his scaling was, it just seems so off. Because in Godzilla 2014, when you see him for the first time, he just takes over the screen with his size. And then in this movie, he just seems like he shrunk, especially with his movements. I love the movements he has. He's very lizard-like in this movie, where he's crawling around. He's like in the fight in Hong Kong, he's like weaving in between buildings on all fours. Like if you've never seen that, usually you see him, he's like this big lumbering idiot just with these giants that just kind of, lumbering around. Where this movie, he's
size, man. Don't be hating.
See, actually, where I take that's because that crawling scene in Hong Kong, it's almost alligator-like.
Yes,
in a sense, with his movement.
I loved it. I loved how lizard-like he was. Or when he bursts out of the water to crawl on the ship, and he's like, he uses his hands so much more. Where a lot of the times with Godzilla, the only time he was ever using his hands was when he was fighting something. So like he's prying something's mouth, one of the creature's mouths open, or he's fighting. But like to see his movements in this was so cool. But the scaling just seemed wrong. The scaling just seemed wrong. It just didn't seem right.
I mean, when you have literal stumps as legs, I think
those are literal skyscrapers as legs.
Yeah, you find a way to make it better by using the rest of your body.
So I will say that this is the thickest we've had of Godzilla. Still looks great.
I mean, don't get me wrong, the special effects in this movie look fantastic. Kong and Godzilla look really good. All the creatures, even like the creatures they find in Hollow Earth, and then I don't, we won't talk about the final fight yet until we get there, because God, it's so good. All right, are we all ready for the plot, or do we have anything else to add before we?
Yeah, I've got one more thing. So I wish I would have paid more attention to the memos that we were sharing on which movie we were reviewing, because I did the wrong. I did the wrong review. I ended up doing 62 instead. So
I watched that too. But I know we were watching, but I watched it anyway.
It's hard to pass it up.
All right. So here we go. Godzilla versus Kong. All right. So we open in Skull Island, and it's like a very cool like montage of Kong waking up on Skull Island, doing his morning routines, getting up, scratching his ass. We had to get that shot. We had to get the shot of him scratching his ass as he's walking away.
Absolutely.
The human defying element right there.
Yes, exactly. Doing his normal thing. You see, first you see the weird birds from Kong Skull Island fly over. And when I remember when I watched this for the first time, I just thought this was Skull Island, like straight up, from Kong Skull Island. Not knowing what we're about to see. So he's wandering through doing his normal morning routine. And then it shoots off where we meet Gia, who is this little girl. She's part of the Iwi tribe, which we saw in Kong Skull Island. And we don't know that, but we kind of assume when we first see that's who she's a part of. And Kong then proceeds to rip a tree out of the ground. He tears off all the branches, and actually, doesn't she show him the doll first?
Yeah, she's making
shows
him
him the Kong doll. You can tell that they have a connection, which is awesome. I loved it. And then he proceeds to chuck the tree into this barrier, which he's in the biodome,
Yes.
For better lack of words.
Yes.
Essentially.
And we find out that he is in a facility. He's in a Monarch facility. And outside it is storming in, all that. And then after he does that, we meet Dr. Andrews, who's played by Rebecca Hall. And we find out that she has a connection with Gia. She's kind of like a foster mother And then we get the cool title sequence, the title card, right? Is that when the title card comes up? I'm trying to go here. No?
Yeah, no. I think that's when this is when it pops up.
Oh no, this is where it shows all the pictures. It shows all the pictures like through like Godzilla fighting the Mutos and the pictures of Randa, like the cool picture of Randa from Kong Skull Island of him standing next to the Kong parents skull right before he dies in that movie. Like all like the cool like throwbacks to the other films.
Thank you, everybody.
Yep.
So I don't like how they set it up almost like a March Madness like elimination bracket of getting to this fight. Like it seemed a little
much.
So
this is what we had.
Yeah. This is a huge point of contention for me with this film. Everything building up in the prior film was like Godzilla, Apex Predator, Titan. He was the dominant, he was the alpha, and he's going to rule over all these other monsters, kaiju. And then, like in the little paper clippings at the end of it, it says like new kaiju heading to Kong Skull Island. It's like leading up to maybe it's going to be like Godzilla's group of monsters versus Kong's group of monsters. And this is the first big change. It's like, no, Godzilla's decided to do. He was Apex. He's just going to whoop all their ass.
Yep.
Like it's complete change from what they had established in the original film. The film prior.
Yeah. It was, you know, I feel like there was a lot of things they had to, I think, throw out from prior films just to try to make this, you know, somewhat like, I feel like they wanted this to be just a battle between these two guys and kind of like hope that you forgot about certain things. Just like, don't worry about it. Hey, what happened to that? No, just forget about it. Big lizard, big monkey fighting. That's all you care about, okay?
Look at this light.
Oh, hey.
Yes. Yes, exactly. We got Will Smith coming in with his Men in Black in Review coming soon. No. Oh man. All right. And then it shows a computer and it's a podcast playing. You hear Brian Tyree Henry's voice. His character's name is Bernie. And he has a podcast called, oh man, is it Titan
Truth?
Titan Truth podcast, where he pretty much he talks about, you know, Godzilla and Apex, which is a new this company that is, what exactly does Apex do? Like, what is their main, are they like cybernetics and robotics?
Yeah, Apex.
Cybernetics.
Apex
right,
Cybernetics.
Okay. And we hear him talking, and he's actually in his car getting ready to go in because he actually works there. He's like a janitor. And he goes in, and then he meets up with one of the like guys that works in the facility and is kind of being a weirdo, like kind of like pressing his buttons like, yo, I made some of my own hand sanitizer, and like just kind of bothering him to try to get him to leave. And then the guy leaves. He goes on his computer, hacks in, downloads information onto a flash drive. But then shit is going down outside. And what is that? Godzilla's here. And he's pissed. He is already glowing blue. We don't even get to see the charge up. He's pretty much already there. He's already ready to go. And he is just on a rampage, heading straight towards Apex. And it's awesome. I loved it. I love this. Anything with Godzilla or Kong in it was just awesome. I don't think I had one scene where I was just like, I'm disappointed with how this is. Listen, this has come from somebody not as big of a fan of you know, Godzilla as you guys are. So like I'm easily a lot easier to be entertained by things like this. But I loved it. I loved him coming in and just wrecking havoc, just destroying the facility. Everybody's evacuating, but Bernie stays behind to try to sneak into, places he can't go into. Which then he runs into a couple guards who are like, what the hell are you doing here? And then before anything could really happen, Godzilla blows a hole, blows those two guys away. And then as he's on the ground and kind of comes to, he sees, which we don't know. Like when I first saw this, I didn't know it was an eye. Did you guys see watch it the first time and go, oh, that's definitely an eye for, what's to come?
I thought it looked like one.
I it looked like an eye, but I didn't put 2 and 2 together.
Right.
I mean, I wasn't like 100% for sure. I was like, that looks like an eye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, he comes to and he
I mean,
sees
it's
this
round
thing.
like an eyeball, but that's it.
Which is cool because you see the eye. Well, listen, ladies and gentlemen, it's an eye for something that will be coming later in the show. And then, but it's cool because then you see Godzilla in the background, still just wrecking havoc. You know, behind everything because it's focusing on the eye, but it's kind of like fuzzy in the background. What's up?
So, part that pisses me off the most about the scene. So, Apex is set up and located like this Apex facility is set up in Pensacola, Florida.
Yep.
My hometown. I have watched back and I've analyzed the background.
Where is this?
Don't know where it's at because it's not Pensacola in the slightest. You could have said Cleveland, Ohio, and I'm like, okay, no.
Oh man,
that
everybody
makes
from
no
Pensacola is like, that's not true. What's that?
That's not
I'm like,
I don't know what that is.
Skyline. I don't know where. I'm like, this is not Pensacola at all.
So funny.
So
Man,
I'm just like,
it's even worse when
this is not Pensacola. I don't care what you say. This is not it at all.
That's hilarious. Oh man. All right. And so all this happens and we turn to the next day and now Godzilla he was once the savior, but now he needs to go. Like it's pretty much he needs to go. He's bad news now. And we meet Walter Simmons, who is the most generic bad guy in a movie. Like this is when you come up with a bad guy, like you're just like, we're not gonna put any thought into what this bad guy does. Just make the most generic bad guy. And that's what Walter Simmons is. And I love Damian Bashir. I said it before. He's a great actor, but they gave him this role sucks. This is my least favorite. Him and his daughter, who we'll meet later in the film, they suck. I don't know what you guys think of Walter Simmons, but he sucks.
I feel like that's an insult to generic villains because I think it's worse than that.
Here's the thing: when you keep doing it over and over and over again, it gets old. And it's stupid. Like it's just him being an idiot. Like this guy is definitely smart, but he does stupid things.
Dumb person is dumb.
Like let's do the thing, the thing that he is going to do or he is already doing in order to be the savior of the world, to make, as he says, to put man back on top of the what is it? What does he say? Like to make man the most powerful being on the planet or something.
See, what does that tell you? He is so generic. We don't remember anything.
Exactly. Like it pissed me off. This guy sucks. But I digress. We always had to have this type of character in these films. So yeah, we meet him. He's doing an interview because of course he is the founder and CEO of Apex Cybernetics. He's talking about how God's, he says a bunch of bullshit no one cares about. And we then see Billy Bobby Brown's character, right? She's at school. She's at high school and they're watching a newsreel of Godzilla destroying the Apex facility. And then we find out she likes Bernie's podcast. She's a very avid listener of the Titan Truth podcast. And she goes to see her father, who is now the head of Monarch. And for this scene, and it's one of those dumb arguments you get where it's like Godzilla's good, no Godzilla's bad, no Godzilla's good, no and then we don't see him for like an hour and a half. I liked Mark. I think Mark was one of my favorite characters in the last film, just because of all the bullshit he had to go through. And then in this film, they're like, yeah, you're not important anymore.
Was it said that he was head of Monarch?
Yes,
in this
he is.
movie?
He is the head of Monarch, I believe.
Could have
Exactly.
Out of me.
Okay.
Here's another huge point of contention for me in this film. Again, changing characters massively.
Mm-hmm.
He comes in here. He's still pissed about everything. So at least they were spot on with that. He's still angry as hell like he normally is.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is he is an animal. He is a zoologist. He's an ethologist. He studies animal behavior. Billy Bobby Brown or whatever, Millie Bobby Brown. I always say Billy all the time. I always say that. Always comes in and tells him, "Oh, it was a threat display." He would know. He would know
Yes.
what Godzilla was doing. He knows. He is a behavioralist. He knows. He understands. He studies animal behavior. They completely retcon all of that out of existence.
That's literally what he was doing in the last film. That's what he was doing when they came to get him. He was studying the behaviors of wolves. That was literally what he was trying. They're like, Dad, he's good. He was just trying. He was sensing something bad was happening. He's like, nah, he's just Godzilla's bad news now. And you're like, what?
All he would have to have been was like, all he would have to do is like, I don't have time for this, daughter. I'm trying to deal with the situation. Right. We'll talk about this later. Exactly. That's it. Yep. Like they completely disregard everything. He almost everything he did in the previous.
No,
film.
Essentially all we get is Godzilla go brr.
Pretty much. That's it. That's it. No, that's it.
Oh man. And then we cut to Dr. Lind, who is played by Alexander Skarsgård. He is he's studying Hollow Earth, which is something that has been mentioned in almost every one of these films. But this film is literally where the full explanation of what Hollow Earth is, well, at least according to this film. Oh, Discord's acting up, but we're here.
No, Discord, no.
It's like freezing every so often. Hopefully you guys don't cut out. So, oh my God, Discord.
Which
every time I start talking, it's like it freezes.
Stream froze.
Did it?
Yep.
Oh wait, hold on.
It's back now on my end. It froze up for about a good 6-7 seconds.
Oh, what's going on here? What is going on? My internet's fine. Everything's good. What's going on?
I've been like alive.
No, I did not survive the Pensacola attack. I'm just a ghost.
No, I'm sorry. Rip.
Well, this is definitely something I have to clip out if this keeps going.
No. Keep the professionalism in. That's what they come here for.
People go on YouTube and just watch you guys freeze up every 5 seconds. Oh, there it is again. What is going on?
If the viewers are not here for the lowlights, they don't deserve the highlights.
When we did our podcast, I don't know how many ums and uhs I cut out.
No, right. Just for the habit.
Funny thing is like you guys are freezing, like straight up, like just stopping in place.
My side is fine.
Yeah.
I can see
my
you guys
Discord's fine. It's just your stream that keeps freezing on my end.
Said stream's been like I've been keeping an eye on it. Like stream's been looking good for the last 30 seconds. We might be clear to continue.
All right. So we meet Dr. Lind, who is a Hollow Earth scientist, who wrote a book about Hollow Earth, but no one bought it because clearly it's not cool. Like I don't understand. Like this seems like a really cool concept and a really cool theory, and like the fact that no one bought it, people are just stupid.
Because didn't he say he's like, hey, if you like the book, I have like 30 unopened boxes in my apartment.
Yeah. Like, oh my God, poor dude. We meet, and then we see generic bad guy and his little underling, who is a Serizawa, Ren Serizawa. Why was this person a Serizawa? Why? Why did they do this? Why did they do this?
If I remember correctly, there was like tons of footage of this film that was chopped out.
Yes,
and this is supposed to be his son.
Yes, I did read that.
It's supposed to be his son. So
yeah,
not once was it even mentioned.
Yeah, they literally, he introduces him as this is Dr. Serizawa. Like he introduces him at Dr. Serizawa, correct? Dr. Ren Serizawa. But people who know these films are like, oh, Serizawa, that's like, why is he with generic bad guy? I'm already not liking this whole thing.
It's like they missed a giant opportunity to ping into, why he teamed up with Apex, what is his motive? And
Right.
what do we get? Flatline.
Yep. Very underwhelming. So yeah, so they were talking about how there is a untapped energy source in Hollow Earth, and Dr. Lynn's like, yo, the last time we did this, my brother died. You hit like this certain point and the gravity like shifts, so it pretty much like crushed him. So yeah, it's impossible. And they're like, but guess what? We made ships that can do it, that can withstand that force, which is bonkers.
The
That you
worst
can
name ever,
create. Yeah, what was the name of them?
The
Heaves?
They're called heaves.
Oh my god! Now we have to hear it 17 more times from.
Where do you do the testing for this?
Exactly. I
in a
don't
heave
get
plant.
it. Listen, these movies are created to make you not like, for people. It's meant for people to not, who are not going to question these things. For us, we're questioning these things as we watch the movie, because I thought the same thing when he's talking about how they have these crafts that can withstand that. Like, how?
I mean,
did how did you even know that was a thing?
I guess you could just test whatever the first time they did it, just test what that pressure is, and then put it into a pressure thing and test that
seems
pressure.
crazy. It seems crazy.
Now, okay, I want to throw something over to Dan real quick because I want to see if he had the same thought process. Did you get Super X vibes off the heave, or is that just me?
A little bit. Super X 1 and 2.
Not like on the nose, but very like, hey,
actually,
this.
No, I get that. I actually was not, but now actually I had an entirely different mindset. So follow me here, Umbreon. You'll get it. Okay, we're trying to go essentially. I don't think it's a big explorer through Antarctica to the other, underworld to get a powerful resource or whatever, right?
Yep. Following.
I'm sitting here listening to you guys talk about this, and it just hit me. This is either a complete structural storyline take from, or it was completely by accident from King Kong Escapes. Go to Antarctica, make Mechani-Kong, get Element X. Mechani-Kong doesn't work. We use Real Kong. Dude, I just fucking hit me. How did I not think of this?
Yeah, no.
There is a Mecha Kong, by the way. That is a real thing.
I swear isn't there like a mecha version of every like creature in this, like in Godzilla? And no,
only a couple.
There's Mechagodzilla, which you'll never see Mechagodzilla ever. You got Mecha Ghidorah, which Mecha Ghidorah is literally just Ghidorah on steroids.
Yeah.
You have Mecha Kong.
Somebody's in trouble somewhere.
Hit the dirt.
The police department literally across the street from my house.
Sirens are on our end for anyone who will eventually be listening to this. It's not you, it's us.
You're not in trouble.
Yeah.
That kind of happens. So,
convenient vehicles that can go into the inner center of the planet.
Yes. So crazy. So yeah, they pretty much are like, yeah, we have these crafts. We need you to go back to Hollow Earth, and we need you to extract this. And then is it Serizawa who says that, like, does Serizawa say like Kong would be someone to take him there, or they need a Titan to take him there? Or was this when Lind meets up with Dr. Andrews?
I think
it was. I mean, it was either generic villain number 45 or it was bastard son number 4.
Yeah. Either one's good for me.
I think it was kind of planted in his brain that this should happen.
However, I do think it was Serizawa that brought it up.
Yeah. So they pretty much are like, yeah, we need a Titan to take us to Hollow Earth, to kind of, to guide us there. And then Dr. Lind then goes to Skull Island, or to the Skull Island Monarch facility, and meets up with Dr. Andrews, who I guess they have a history of some sort. They worked together at one point. And he meets Gia, and Gia calls him a coward, but he thinks it's sign, like, she's deaf. She is deaf. And a cool trivia fact, which I had it pulled up here, was that the actress who plays Gia, her name is Kaylee Hoddle, is part of an all deaf family. Like, her family is all deaf.
Yep.
So yeah, which is cool. That I love that they do that. They just incorporate those things into the character. Kind of like the actress who was in A Quiet Place. Really cool. Just really cool.
But so they don't mention it, but I just kind of like to keep the theme throughout the Monsterverse. I'm just gonna ship it as official canon that I believe they had a previous love relationship, and that's kind of where
isn't that where it always goes? They just didn't mention it. Yeah,
right.
I was waiting for it. I mean, he kisses her and it was kind of awkward, but like, yeah, you're always waiting for that. Like, oh, they were prior lovers, but then they never say it, and you're like, oh, well, good for you guys. So yeah, so they talk about how, he explains about how somebody came to him to say, hey, we need to go to Hollow Earth, but we need Kong. It needs to be our, kind of our chaperone or kind of our guide into Hollow Earth. And she's like, how the hell are we going to get him there? And what do? Put him on a battleship.
Yeah.
This is smart.
Yeah,
Oh
just
boy.
the middle
I
of
have
the
a feeling that we're gonna tear this to shreds. Here in a
What
few minutes.
could go wrong here when you're dealing with, hey, Godzilla, if we take him out of this facility, Godzilla's going to know where he is. So what do? Let's put him on a ship on the water where Godzilla likes to swim around. Oh, but I have a guide that shows all the waters that Godzilla doesn't swim in. Are you kidding me?
Dude, his entire planet's his territory. Come on, guys.
Dan, I'm just going to say, after I saw this movie for the first time and I gave you my rankings, it's not going to be the same after today.
No, I understand.
Absolutely not.
Mine changed in 2 movies.
Absolutely not. It's changing 100%. Just because of some of the, like, watching it the second time, I'm like, this is stupid. Why would you do this?
It's stupid, but it's
what we're gonna see next is awesome. And that's what they did. They pretty much were like, yes, we know this is really dumb, but wait to see what comes next, because then you won't give a shit about what the decisions we make.
Oh, well,
okay, cool.
What makes it balance the dumb and the cool.
Yep.
What makes it worse is not only are you putting him on water where Godzilla thrives, but you're chaining him to a boat.
Right.
So now he's double
with a tranquilizer collar to match.
God.
sitting duck.
This is so fun. So we see Godzilla all sedated on the ship with his leg hanging off the side. So cool. And then he wakes up, and is like, what the frick is happening here? And then we meet second generic bad guy, who is the daughter of the first generic bad guy, Mia Simmons, that woman who is just kind of like, I don't give a shit. I'm just going to be a terrible person. Like, she just...
I have money.
Yeah.
Listen to me talk.
She sucks. Her father sucks. She sucks even worse.
See, I couldn't remember his name, so I have her written down as daughter of Apex Asshole, because I
just
don't
have her...
remember his name.
Hear me out here. Hear me out here. We see her more than we do see her father.
That is true. Yep.
She's at least the bar is here. She's at least more fleshed out than what her father is. And she brings more entertainment value than him by miles. It's still not great.
No.
But it's more.
Yeah, she still sucks. Her name's Maya Simmons, and my note was just, yay, another generic bad guy.
Pretty much.
And she again talks about the heaves, because Lind is talking about them, but she gets all like offended by the way he's talking about them. So she's like, they're heaves, and you're like, why? Who cares? Shut up.
With fact, did you know a heave runs enough power to?
I was just about to say,
Las Vegas for a week.
Yeah, remember that one, chat. Remember it. Remember that line, because it's going to come up again.
Of course.
Oh my God. And so then we go up to the captain of the ship, who is like, all right, so you're sure that these are the waters that Godzilla doesn't swim in? And she's like, yes, I have the charts. We've tracked him. And we know he doesn't go in these waters. And you're like, how are you a scientist? You're dumb. You are literally dumb.
I would say this is the worst military group we've had.
Yeah, I have to agree. And we're talking about freaking what's his name in the first one? I already forgot because I don't care.
Brody.
Aaron Taylor Johnson. Oh God! I just found out he
Like-
was in Tenet, and now I don't want to watch it.
Uh-oh.
You want to watch Tenet?
No,
I
I'm
promise.
gonna. Christopher Nolan's fantastic. So yeah, so it's raining out, and Gia can sense distress from Kong, so she goes outside. But I mean, I would sense distress too. He's literally sitting outside, and it's pouring. You know, he's got fur. He's cold. Who gives a shit how big he is? He's still gonna these people suck.
Now,
So
to
Go ahead.
piggyback off that, and because I know Dan saw this in theaters, so he knows what I'm going to say. The effect that they put into the movie with being able to sense the vibrations, which is how she finds things.
Yeah.
Here.
It really immerses you. It is done very well. Certainly
Nice
high.
touch, yeah.
Gia is my favorite human character in this film. She is.
Yep, that's
She's
fair.
fantastic.
Yeah.
And she doesn't say a word either.
No, she is fantastic. The actress who
sometimes
plays
the
her is
characters that don't
fantastic.
speak are better.
So
Yes.
good. I mean, if you watch A Quiet Place, the girl, the daughter in that film, she was the best one. She was, and you're talking about a movie with Emily Blunt and John Krasinski, but that's a separate story. But
Kind of
Yeah.
like Nicolas Cage from Willy's Wonderland.
oh Jesus, I still have yet to see that.
I've never seen that, but Nicolas
It's
Cage.
it's Five Guys at Freddy's with Nicolas Cage.
I'm down.
And
Sign
he,
me
doesn't,
up.
he doesn't say a single word. It's perfect.
Oh man. Okay, so Gia goes outside where it's pouring out. Everybody's like, "Is she supposed to be out there?" And oh my god.
Which she is this small out there on the ship. How
Yeah.
do you see her in the
Yeah,
downpouring rain?
they're like staring out the. Why are you staring at? Who cares? Like, oh my god. So yeah, so she goes up, and her and Kong have a connection. They're they
Uh-huh.
touch. He sticks his finger out. She touches his finger, and then he signs, and I was like, what?
Oh.
Yeah, and then Dr. Andrews comes out to get her, and Gia's signing to her that he doesn't want to be here. Like he wants to go home. He's just he hates it. He hates everything that's going on. And then Dr. Andrews looks up, and he signs again. And she's just in awe, and everybody's like, the monkey can talk. What does she say? What does the stupid villain say? Did the monkey just talk?
The monkey just talk. Yeah.
Oh God, I hate you. I hate you so much.
Second best monkey line next to Kong Scarlin.
It's
Is
not a
that a
monkey.
monkey?
Yeah.
No.
Stupid idiots. All right, so then we're back to Madison, and I called this kid. We meet the Deadpool 2 kid. I forgot his name.
I think it's
His name is
no, no.
Josh in the movie, but I don't know.
His name is Josh. Oh man,
Julian
I don't
Dennison.
remember what his.
Was it
Julian Dennison.
Julian Dennison? He's a great actor. But I put him in my notes as Deadpool 2 kid because I couldn't think of it at the time I was watching the movie. But we meet him in his brother's cool weather truck or weather van, like which is really cool, I guess. And they are gonna go try to find Bernie, and he's like, I don't want to, and she's like, well, you're coming, and he's like, okay, this is my brother's van. So they tend to try. So they're talking about things I don't care about as they're driving in the van. They talk about bleach, and he's like, and then Josh says, what does he drink the bleach? I'm like, what are you? Come on, people. Like, you are old enough to know that if you drink bleach, you'll die. What is
No.
wrong with these people?
People that were eating Tide Pods like 2 years ago.
Oh, well, we'll get to that because one of the characters that we'll meet talks about that.
Yeah.
So we get to a shop in Chinatown, which is where they somehow tracked bleach. They tracked like supply of bleach. I was so confused. There was too much bleach talk in this
Also,
movie.
fun fact: where the hell are they at? Because this all took place, and he was living in Pensacola.
Yeah.
There's not a Chinatown there. Where is this taking place?
They-
It's never
they don't-
established.
They don't care about real life locations, okay? They just take names. They're not actually. This is all so much
Yeah, 'cause
fun.
I'm like Chinatown.
Woo.
Where?
Boy, oh boy. Listen, chat, I am going ape shit about this film right now. Wait for a few weeks when we talk about Jaws 3D, okay?
You meant to say monkey shit. That's what. I'm just kidding.
So a lot of Bleach talk. They talk to this this guy who runs this kind of convenience store type shop about, hey, do you know a guy named Bernie? He buys a lot of bleach, and he and then he was talking about the Tide Pods. He's like, yeah, we just had to settle a big lawsuit because of some kids that wanted to eat those. He doesn't say Tide Pods, but he says like the detergent pods. But then they slip him like a 5, and he's like, "Oh yeah, Bernie."
Yeah,
I'm not taking
Like,
it where he
what?
lives.
$5.
Like, this dude must not make any money.
Here's a cheap payout.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh yeah, sure." So
Just had a lawsuit.
it's true. So then they find his apartment. They knock on the door, try to get him to come out. He's all trying to hide his voice, and then Madison says who she is, and he opens the door. Is like, so you're, what was the mother's name?
Teresa.
Dr. Russell. Oh, Jesus. What was her
Yep.
name?
Emma. No, Emma.
Emma.
Yes,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
like, you're Emma Russell's daughter,
I'm like, sorry, I had to go through the ABCs to get to it.
right? So yeah, he comes out because she says who she is, that she's Madison Russell, Emma Russell's daughter. And then they have a conversation about how, like, you know, why he does what he does. He talks about his wife who passed away. And then he has a like flask of whiskey in a gun holster. And pretty much he says, like, if he the day that I have to drink all this is the day that I want to die, pretty much. And it was, very heartfelt.
Meanwhile, Julian Dennison's character is freaking out. Why is he carrying a gun holster?
He is the only one in this whole thing where you're like, he is reacting like you should react to these situations. Like, okay. So they're pretty much like, yeah, we have to break into Apex. And Millie Bobby Brown's like, let's do it. And Josh is like, what? I just thought we were coming to find this guy. Like, I don't want to do this at all. Oh, he asked him, hey, do you drink tap water?
I hated this. I'm like,
so
what the
dumb.
Just cut it all out.
Oh my God. So much unnecessary. Chat, this whole storyline for these 3 characters could have been cut out completely and it wouldn't have changed a damn thing.
So okay, now here's why I will fight all 3 of you on this one, and this is where they do it well. He's a conspiracy theory. Yes, we are going to lean on the conspiracy theory of fluoride.
I get
It was worth it.
I just hate conspiracy theories so much when it's like that. Oh, the government's going to take over the government's going to take over your brain if you drink tap water because it's got fluoride in it. That's how they control you.
So yeah, so we have that.
They don't want to control this brain.
Then we bounce back to the battleships where everybody's hunky dory up in the the Overwatch area where they have the where they steer and all that shit. I can't think of names right now. I don't care. And yeah, they're like, oh my God, we're sensing Godzilla's in the area. And she's like, oh, this is not where he swims. And like, because Kong is here, dummy. You said it. Kong is here. He can sense him. He knows where he is at all times. You said it. The thing that Dr. Andrews says this, and then she's shocked that he finds them. It makes no sense.
What?
All right, Nemesis, what were you going to say?
I just saw, like, that's like me putting a fish in my tub, right? And then going, you know what? It doesn't swim on the right side of the tub, only the left. But then I drop food on the right side of the tub, and it suddenly goes over there, and I'm like, "Holy shit!"
Oh my
It went to the
God!
right side of the tub.
This
Now,
is so bad.
One part about this where we're currently talking about right now that I enjoyed is when she can sense that something's wrong, and she puts her hand on the wall, and you can hear his roar. Like, oh, that's
really cool.
Yes.
Oh,
Chills.
Super cool. Kong, of course, can sense it too. He's getting all irritable on the ship. He's trying to rip off the restraints.
Yeah, He knows he's a sitting duck too.
And people are and they're telling like let him go, like he needs to fight, like you're literally he's not gonna be able to do anything. And the coolest thing is him just he knows that Godzilla's there. He goes to the edge of the ship and he's doing his like he smashes it with his fist. Does he? I don't know if he beats his chest, but he does like an aggressive move, and then Godzilla just bursts out
uppercut.
Oh my goodness! And just this whole fight was so awesome, and the fact that like they didn't make it where like Kong was comfortable, you could tell they made his expressions on his face of him always having to think about what to do. Where Godzilla, this is his natural habitat, like he is so comfortable in the water, so like he is just doing natural things. Where Kong is having to think of every single move he has to do because
actually
he's not good at swimming.
He can't swim.
So
really.
Godzilla hits the ship. It flips the ship. Yeah, it flips the ship. Kong is under the water, still in his restraints. And Godzilla's there too. You know, he's fighting him with the restraints on, and then the ship comes right back up again. And they're like, "You got to let him out. Like, let him out." And I think
he gets released and the ship is still in the water. When he gets released,
Oh yeah, because Lynn like swims over to the controls and lets him go because he can see them under the water as he's struggling.
I actually think in this scene, you can. At least I thought like he actually looks like afraid. Like he's
he is. Yeah, 100%. I mean, he's out of his element. He's
massive
not
disadvantage.
He's not free. Like he's literally tied down, so he can only do so much. So yeah, he gets released. The ship then proceeds to flip back over. Well, I love that he gets released and he just like knees Godzilla in the face and like pushes him away to like get himself back up again. Yeah.
You want to know what I think of when I like, especially in the scene when he's underwater and he's like, he's got like those puppy dog eyes. He has those like it's those like very sad, kind of scared eyes and it was kind of cool because it's like this thing's a lot bigger than my dog, but
I mean, like they display human emotion.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Well.
Yeah. Even though he's a monster titan, he still has emotions and.
So yeah, he has to figure. So they get the ship back upright, and he props himself up, and this is when Godzilla shoots out of the water and does like the crawl across the top of the ship, which is so awesome. Just seeing him move like this and how fast he is. And then he stands up and it's the wide shot of both of them ready to square off. And boy, it's literally like a boxing match is like the guys just hitting the bell and they come in and they're both just socking each other. And you know,
Kong socks his shit. Godzilla slaps him back.
Yeah. It's just so good. And then Kong knocks Godzilla back into the water.
It's almost like he like Russian leg sweeps him and like, you know, hey, get off the boat.
And then isn't that when Godzilla goes under the ship and he does the move that he does when he comes back to life in King of the Monsters? He aims up, charges up, and shoots straight through the ship, and Kong senses it, so he jumps back into the water.
And Kong looks better doing a CGI action scene jump than most actors do.
But I agree. So Kong is back in the water. He's fighting Godzilla in the water again. And then I believe he gets back onto the ship, the original ship he was on. Because that's where he comes up with the idea to like, why does he decide to jump across all the ships to try to lure him away from?
Well, he does that prior to them because he jumps over to the big aircraft carrier. Then Godzilla climbs onto the aircraft. Yeah, so that already happened.
Right. Okay, which was really cool. Like I said, Kong is literally thinking this entire time. He has to come up with, you know, logical ways of staying, you know, relevant in this fight because he is so out of his element. You know, he's in the water and he's still able to throw punches and kicks and all that. But Godzilla is, I mean, he can move so fast and he's so agile. And then
like you are playing in his world right now.
Yeah. And
let me just say, he trusts those ships not to sink more than most people trust their a significant other.
oh
Yeah,
man, oh man,
where can I find a ship capable of holding several megaton
yeah.
kaiju? Like,
Imagine being
what
the
is
people on
point?
those ships. Like, well, Chad, this has been a good run.
We're going down.
This is
the
no
scene
fun.
where the ship starts to like pitch forward, and you see the fighter jet just get the
Yeah.
hell out of dodge. It's just like,
Yeah.
nope, I've had enough.
Yep.
Yep.
I'm
Hey,
out.
bye.
Yeah, and then the PTSD of all the helicopters being slapped around by Kong come back, and you're like,
Yeah.
shit.
It's like, oh, Samuel L. Jackson's dead, so he would. Oh God. So yeah, he's back in the water, and then Godzilla pretty much wraps his tail around him and proceeds to drag him to the bottom of the ocean. And Dr. Andrews is like, "Hey, use what did they use?
Death charges.
Death charges. Yeah, to have Godzilla let go because like Kong's gonna die. He's gonna drown, and they do the death charges, and then Kong comes up. The cool thing where you just see his hands grab onto the side of the ship, and he pulls himself up just like any human would when they're on the verge of drowning, just exhausted. Just like Kong is done. Like he is. There's no more fighting him. But they know that Godzilla is going to come back because he needs to make sure that Kong is dead before he moves on. And Dr. Lin decides turn off all the power, turn off everything, make it like it's over. He's dead.
Shut it down.
And Godzilla, it's a cool shot of like the fire of all the other ships, and Godzilla's kind of in between them, kind of looking over. He sees Kong kind of just like sprawled out on the ship, and he's just like, all right, I'm out, and swims away. God, this fight was so cool. Like I said, any of the Godzilla and Kong fights, or just any fights between any creatures in this film, are just so good because
I want you to ask Kong if that was a cool fight.
I mean, he was CGI, so he won't be able to answer me.
His bitch ass is still alive. You should be thankful.
Yeah. So does it jump over to them breaking into Apex?
Yep.
Do they say, do they talk about do Lind and Andrews talk before that?
I don't think so.
Something I didn't mention before this fight happens. Lind and Andrews are talking about Gia and how the storm that we see in Kong Skull Island consumed Skull Island. Like it took the whole island, destroyed the Iwi tribe. She is the last remaining, like pretty much human from Skull Island. And
Kong took a protective role over her.
Yeah.
And so did she.
Yeah. So yeah, that was something that happens before this fight. But then after the fight, Lind and Andrews talk about, well, is Kong good with flying? Or is it right?
Yeah.
How does he feel about heights?
Yeah. Which then I think it doesn't cut to him flying, right? It cuts to
No,
going to
it
Apex,
cuts.
right?
Yeah.
Breaking into Apex.
Yeah.
So Madison, Bernie, and Deadpool 2 Kid. That's what I'm going to call him the rest of this. I know his name is Josh, but I just want to keep calling him Deadpool 2 Kid. They go and break into Apex. It's the destroyed facility, of course.
Sounds like you call it breaking in when it's a desolate
right?
wasteland.
Yeah, literally. So yeah, they go into the building, and Bernie is pretty much bringing them to that room where he saw the eye, and they get there, and the eye's gone. And he's like, "Oh, I swear it was right here." Well, I mean, come on, man. This is a multi-billion-dollar company. They're gonna probably move those things. And then they proceed to kind of like go underground. They find an elevator, and they go to like sub-level 33.
Funny how the elevator is still,
right. It's perfectly fine. It's beautiful. It's like they just cleaned it.
Yeah, but that's what they're worried about during a fire. Don't use the elevator. But yeah, you can withstand atomic breath. So
Yeah.
So they go down to this sub-level, and they find like a lot of stuff's going on down there. A lot of stuff's being moved to Hong Kong, to another Apex facility. We don't know everything that is being sent there, but they do find. Do they see the scroll callers in the
Nope,
cases
not
yet?
Not yet.
No,
Is that when they
that's
get to Hong Kong? Well, I
Yep.
know they see the skull crawler in Hong Kong. I didn't know if they saw the containers they had.
That's while they're in transit between the
Oh,
two
right,
facilities.
okay.
Then they
Speaking
realize.
of which, I wonder how they get from Pensacola to Hong Kong.
I mean, didn't they
Rail
explain it?
guns.
Yes, rail guns.
Rail guns.
Listen, this movie makes no fucking sense, but we're here.
Yeah.
They're going, well, they're far enough underground. They can just travel under the earth
But,
somehow.
I want to know how long it
How-
would take.
Hollowworth Railway.
I don't know. They
Oh,
go.
yeah, that's
it
true, right?
shows their little pod is going 600 and something miles per hour, and
Yeah.
they have enough time to like lay down and just
Take a nap.
relax.
Take
Yeah.
a nap.
So it
Yeah.
has to be a while.
Oh, we don't even know where this Pensacola is because Umbreon.
Apparently, it's not in
It's
Florida.
not Pensacola. Must
So
be like
they're-
Pensacola, China.
Yeah. So they're
Pensacola, South Carolina.
So they're exploring, but then people are coming, so they hide in this pod to kind of wait for these guards to go by. But before that can happen, the door's shut on the pod, and they're kind of like, well, shit, we're going somewhere, and it tells them that their destination is Hong Kong, and they're like, what? I love Josh's reactions to everything. The Deadpool 2 kids' reactions to everything are
Will you stop
genuine.
calling him that?
I'm gonna keep calling him that, even though I know his name. No, I'll call him Josh. I know his name. But yeah, his reactions to everything are literally genuine. Like everybody else is like, oh no, oh well, that's fine. Where Josh is like, what? I don't want to be here. Like, what is happening? Originally, we were just here to find this guy, and now what is going on? Oh man, good job, Josh. Well done. You're probably my second favorite human character in this movie.
Okay, so I did some research. I did the distance and how fast they're going. So apparently it would take 14 and a half hours.
There you go. So they
Okay.
just have
That
enough
is
time to take a nap.
That's not even a nap. That's just going to bed.
Yeah, let's just go to
That's
bed.
longer than going to bed. I mean, a normal.
That's more sleep than I ever get.
Yeah, I don't know.
They didn't bring any snacks with them. Or
No.
I
anything.
know. Well, they could have drank the whiskey, but
Yeah, well, that was important. That was
They could have
important.
brought the bleach.
important. Yeah.
So they're traveling to Hong Kong. And then is this when we go back to Kong and everything going on with them? Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we then see Kong in like a net being draped with it was like 5 helicopters or 4 helicopters as he's like
That's what they
kind of
should have done
being
from the
displayed.
beginning.
So this is a throwback to the original Kong versus Godzilla, where he is transported to, is it Antarctica in that movie too?
No.
Where's he transported to in that one?
To Godzilla.
Oh, just to a random spot.
No,
But
just-
Is that to the location?
He
They're like,
literally
"Location
that's right. They
Godzilla."
do. They literally drop him on top of Godzilla.
That's
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
exactly
But he's
what
carried by
Tokyo.
he's carried by balloons in that film, which I thought was hilarious.
Oh yeah.
So it was a cool throwback to that. He's being carried.
Wait, they drop Kong.
So
on
they
the,
have
like,
Kong-
literal-
Oh yeah.
They have
literally
giant
drop him on
balloons.
top of Godzilla.
Giant balloons carrying his ass to Godzilla,
Nice.
and then they drop him on top. Man, the Kong in that film is so good. He looks so good, better than this Kong, I think.
See, I got words about that later. We can have discussions.
Oh man, I love the monkey suit days. The monkey
Suit
suit,
Nation will always reign supreme.
so good. Oh man. So yeah,
we
they
just watched that.
So they are bringing Kong to the Antarctica to the Monarch facility. Well, actually, it's the entrance to Hollow Earth.
Yeah, the launch station.
Yeah, the launch station there. So they drop him in the snow. He's doing this cool thing where he's never seen snow before. I love the effects, special effects in this film are just fantastic. That's one thing that they have been consistent with all 4 films is the special effects are so good.
But-
The snow being on his fur and all that's so good.
Back to scaling. This scene, to me, he looked so tiny when
Yeah,
they dropped him. in that.
100%. 100%.
He looked like a normal size ape
Yeah.
in this. Like he was so.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that their scaling was so off.
I mean, yeah.
So
Okay.
he's doing his thing. He's looking around with all the snow, and they're like, "Yeah, we need to get him to. We need to get prepped because we need to get him to lead us to Hollow Earth." I don't. I don't remember. Does this jump back to Bernie and them, or does it stay until he jumps into Hollow Earth?
Yep.
Right.
This is continuous.
So pretty much, Dr. Andrews tells Gia, "You need to convince Kong that he needs to lead. He needs to kind of lead us in here. Tell him that his family might be down there," which I don't understand because his family died.
Which, boy, that is the phrase to use here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Another questionable thing that I literally questioned when I heard it. I was like, "What?" But his parents died. Like, he's the last of his species. But like, you're telling him his family might be down there. Just say like more of him could be down there.
Yeah.
Just say, hey, more of his. Yeah. Okay. Whatever. I guess I just.
Maybe
I think that's actually what they end up saying is potential more.
Potential more. Yeah. Okay.
More of you.
Yeah.
There's a few things. Just a couple things I want to throw out there real fast.
Yeah,
one thing I noted, I forgot to mention this. It was during the boat scene, and it happens in this scene too. The best, as you mentioned, human character is Gio. Is that her name? Yeah.
Yep.
And then Kong is the best. I think kaiju. As much as I love Godzilla, just from an emotive standpoint, because of course when he's in Antarctica and he's like screwing with the snow, and you can see him kind of like shake because he's getting cold and stuff.
Yep.
And then the one thing I've never ever seen in kaiju films, giant monster movies I've ever watched, is during the boat scene. And this really grabbed me the first time I watched. During the boat scene, when Godzilla's approaching the boats, the aircraft carriers all fire missiles. Kong covers his ears.
Yes.
I was like, that's amazing.
Good.
Such a simple touch.
So good.
And what wakes him up when they drop him down is the charges from the net letting go is what wakes him up.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. Call.
Because he's never really heard anything this loud.
Yeah.
Where he's from, an island, they don't have guns. They don't have
people.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's been a long time since he had to throw helicopters around and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's just a random thing.
No, that's right. No, I like I said, like the fact, like that whole sequence. I mean, literally everything Kong does is so emotive. Like there's so much emotion in him. It's not just straight up CG of an ape. Like even in Kong Skull Island, I thought his emotions and the different thing, like him cleaning the wound on his hand after the helicopter fight, like he's like he winces in pain because it hurts.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I thought they've done such a great job with that. Where they, like I said, they focused a lot on the kaijus, and they didn't do much with the humans. And I feel like that's what they do with these movies. Most of these movies, there's no, like, who gives a shit about the humans? I don't care.
That's not what we're here for. Those human characters do not sell tickets. It is the kaiju.
It's just, man. But it keeps us watching the movie because of these scenes where you're feeling more emotion towards Kong than you are anybody else, any of the human characters. Maybe Gia, of course. I mean, you feel for her and her connection with Kong, but any other humans, who gives a shit? Let's see. So they'd say, Dr. Andrews tells Gia, hey, you need to we need to have him lead us to Hollow Earth. Tell him that maybe more of his family or more of his kind is down there. And she does. He's kind of hesitant. And then when she explains, like, more of you could be down there, he's like, all right, that's it. Let's go. And they're like, shit, we gotta go. We gotta go. Yeah,
you say that to begin with.
Yeah, you gotta start with that.
It's straight, just like, oh, all right.
Yeah. So they get the heaves going.
Yeah. Sorry, I hate that.
It's so bad.
You say that
sounds like somebody's about to throw up.
And so Kong jumps into the opening there, and he's going through, and then it's just literally like a straight shot down into Hollow Earth. And the funniest thing is when the ships are going down, and Dr. Lind is like hands the bag to generic bad guy number 2. He's like, hey, just letting you know, you're probably gonna throw up. And then nothing happens after like the whole action happens of them entering that change in gravity. No one gets sick. No one, like there's no moment where like somebody's like, oh God, like I wanted that. Like, give me that. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't like
You
seeing
built
people
us
throw.
up.
I don't like seeing people throw up, but like at least so that somebody was affected by it, because it's literally like they were just like, okay, we're good, guys. We're back. Like, what? That was anticlimactic.
Oh, I'm sure if you would have had Deadpool 2 kid, I'm sure he would have thrown.
Oh, he would have been all over the place.
He would have missed the bag.
He would have been crying before they hit it.
I have when we go a little farther, I have some weird trivia for Dan and Umbreon that I found. Just I guess I can say it right now, but
No, just wait. We'll wait.
okay.
So they enter into Hollow Earth. And a really cool scene where like the ships are going down and Kong, like Kong and the ships like slow motion where like Kong looks inside the ship like as they're falling.
Like, why have you betrayed me?
Yeah. And they lose power. It's one of those times where like, oh, the ship's lost power. We gotta get it. Right as the ship's power comes back, it's right before they hit the ground and like, oh, and you're like, wow, it's not like it's been done in 1,000 movies. But thank you. I need to see it again. And Godzilla is he's pumped, man. He's sprinting through. He's determined to. He knows. I feel like he knows where he's going. Like he has like a GPS in his head.
When did Godzilla show up into Hollow Earth?
Kong. That's what I meant to say. I'm talking about Kong here. You guys all know.
He's excited.
Godzilla was sprinting.
Godzilla does sprint in this film. But Kong he's very excited. He's determined to go. You know, I feel like he has a GPS in his head where he knows exactly where he's going.
It's like almost going home to the motherland, and you just
Right.
you instinctually know where you're supposed to be.
Like he may have never been. He's probably never been here before, but he knows where he's got to go. And then we encounter these weird like snake. What did I put them down as? Snake bats. That's what I call them.
Warbat.
Yeah, they're warbats.
They're called warbats.
They're called useless.
They looked really cool. I love Kong just literally grabbing one by like he kills one and then grabs it by the tail and just uses it as a weapon to knock the other one out. But then he go ahead, Dan.
Okay, that's reference. Two things I got to note. Okay, in the original script, there was supposed to be a sexually dimorphic different male. So like the Mutos, male and female. So there was supposed to be a male that looked really different. So that was originally planned and scrapped. And then the scene where Kong swings the other one around to hit the other is actually Wingard's reference to Friday the 13th Part 7 and Jason X.
Oh, with the girls in the sleeping bag.
Yep. That's exactly.
Oh my God. Jason
I put it
X.
down as Hulk and Loki.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I've never seen so much like pre-movie release, and we were getting like, hey, we got new kaiju coming in. We're like, all right, cool. Let's see what and Wasted got you. It was.
Couldn't license anything else from Toho for that one.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I thought they looked pretty cool, but
I didn't mind them. I'm all for new kaiju, but
yeah, like they're definitely interesting, but just.
I'm just a big fan of the part where it tries to suffocate him.
That's brilliant.
Yes.
That was brilliant.
Yes, and the humans actually do something. They had to shoot the rockets to save them. So
can we all just agree that Kong got like the shitty end of this deal and everything?
Oh yeah, God, absolutely.
Almost drowns, almost gets smothered by some weird snake flying bullshit.
Like, come on, Kong, we'll get you on a boat. We'll take you to Dairy Queen. Like, it'll be fine. It's gonna be cold when we go, but Dairy Queen.
Oh, actually, something I forgot to mention. Way back, we're gonna go way back to the ship. There actually, before Godzilla attacks the ship that Kong is on, it shows Kong scooping fish and eating it. It's a reference to the '98 Godzilla film where they try to lure Godzilla in with the big pile of fish.
I haven't.
Sir, I don't know what movie you're talking about. There was never a '98 Godzilla.
And the famous words of Matthew Broderick, that's a lot of fish.
Yep. I forgot. I'm surprised I didn't put that down in my notes. but
I have
damn.
it down. I have it as Tasman Sea. Nom nom nom.
Oh man.
However, at least he does.
Wait,
he does
Dan,
get
is it
to-
true that they were called Nozuki?
Yes.
What
Okay.
was?
The war bats.
Were they really? I had no idea.
It says the
they
giant
were-
cobra-like snakes seen in Hollow Earth are called the Titanus war bats, although they were supposedly called Nozuki during
cool.
pre-production.
I had no
Yes.
idea. Very
Yes,
cool.
that is very true.
Very sweet. I dig that. That would be a cool name. I would have liked that too. Maybe it sounded too foreign to use.
I mean, Toho's not foreign.
Well, you know, English audience. Let's make our villain have an accent. He's got to be evil. It's the lamest cliche in an American action movie.
So he's getting smothered by one. The rockets from one of the heaves shoots. I'm gonna say,
Did you have to say it like
yeah, I have to say it like that every time.
He's just pissed because nobody.
I'm taking a
heeds.
shot every time you say that.
Do it.
Oh gosh, he'd be dead.
Oh, he's drinking seltzer. It's fine.
Oh no!
I drink
Hey,
them too.
we've
It's okay.
seen you. We've seen you.
Oh,
on
I drink
seltzer
plenty of
before.
them. Okay, I'm not saying I don't drink them, but
Not sponsored by Vizzy Lemon, but actually one of the best seltzers you can buy on the market.
oh, they are delicious.
Parker likes White Claws.
Oh Christ!
I don't drink White Claws anymore. Okay, can we just put that?
Yeah,
I like Truly seltzers. Okay, they're really good. Well, let's not get into this debate. Okay, well, we can talk about this another time.
So the Rockets and Nozuki.
So yeah, Kong is getting smothered by one of the war bats, and the rockets from one of the eaves shoots it, and just kind of makes it let go to the point where Kong can grip onto him, and then he rips its head off. This is a common theme in these Monsterverse movies where something's head has to be ripped off,
It's what he does. It's
Exactly.
what
Yeah.
he does.
Yeah.
and then he proceeds to eat its brain or the guts from like in its green, and then it shows the generic bad guy number 2 going, ew, gross.
Yeah.
And you're like,
Yeah.
okay.
Gross.
I didn't sign
Yeah.
up for this.
You know,
Yeah.
Dan, was there a head removal in Kong Skull Island?
Yes.
Where? Remind
Does-
me.
Was there?
I think.
Skullcrawler? One of the
Well, he
Skullcrawlers?
doesn't rip off a head. He does
No,
shove his
no,
hand down
no,
his
there
throat
is-
and
yeah,
rips
there's
out the
different
inside.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't a skull crawler. It was. Oh my god.
It wasn't the no, because the only things he fights are the
It
skull
wasn't-
crawlers
yeah,
and
it wasn't
the
the
octopus
octopus.
or the squid or whatever it was.
Because he rips the leg off there.
Yeah, I don't know.
I was
Whatever.
gonna say, 'cause if
3
there
out of
was one
4
thing,
films, there's a head that gets ripped off.
The guy gets the memo for the head ripping. Apparently, I don't remember. I'm sure it could have
Yeah.
happened. I just don't.
So then we have Kong continues his run, and then he does the thing where he's like on one side and like there's another cliff that's like kind of upside down, and he kind of like jumps and flips his way to the other side, and he proceeds to run until he finds a cave or like an entrance to a temple of some sort
Which-
with a
If you notice here, when he does the flip, the cliff is actually like a Kong hand.
yes
Yeah,
reaching
yeah
out.
yeah.
I was prepared for him to biff.
Okay, so Umbergon, because we're talking. Well, let's get a little closer here before I ask this question. Go ahead.
So he gets to the entrance of the temple. He puts his hand on. There's already like a red handprint on it. He puts his hand on it.
Okay,
And-
pause.
and-
Brett.
What?
No, because we're at the door, and before we go any further, I have some cool other trivia about this door that
Sure.
Dan and Umbreon would probably appreciate. When Kong arrives at the source of the energy in his Hollow Earth homeland, he must push open some gigantic stone doors in order to gain entry. The doors and the columns on either side of them are quite similar to the gate Kong pushed open back in the original King Kong in 1933.
See, I didn't catch that. It's a good pull. Good pull.
That seems to check out.
Don't we go back to?
We go back to Hong Kong before he opens the doors.
Right. Yeah. He puts his hand on the thing and it open, and then we go back to the other 3.
One thing. Okay, so
For whatever.
there
reason.
when he's running across the desolate plains, right? And
Yeah.
before, like, he was going to the temple door, whatever. there's that one lizard kaiju that eats the other stuff. What is the name the fandoms gave him? What is it, like Craig or
Yeah, it's Craig.
or Dog or something like that?
I think it's
I can't remember because
I
everybody
think
gets
it's Craig.
yeah, I think everybody
Craig.
gets, it's like Kevin. It's one of those, but that little like fat chubby lizard, and they gave him a name.
Yes.
He needs
I
to be
know.
The not Anguirus Anguirus.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Just bring Gamma
think
into it,
it's
make that
Craig.
Barugon. We're set.
because he was
We'll
like
make
a
it happen.
huge meme.
That's funny.
That's all I had. That's all I had.
You know, because Arno said it. This movie of the series is the most meme-worthy movie, hands down.
So witty
Actually, my
out of it.
we'll get to it when we get to the Hong Kong fight, but my PC background is actually from the movie.
So yeah, we go back to the midst of Madison, Bernie, and Josh going to Hong Kong on this transport pod. And that's when Madison they discover these tanks, right? Because it's in the pod, right? The tanks with the skull crawlers in it.
Yep.
And
Yeah, they
she's
should
like,
probably not be there.
yeah, and she knows that they're called skull crawlers. I don't know if that was something her mom explained to her. Like, I'm confused.
Oh, I mean, I'm sure with being Monarch, I'm sure it's
Right.
been spread down through the. It's probably not.
I love how the
hidden.
Skullcrawler name stayed though, because it was one of those. It was a made up name from John C. Reilly's character in Kong Skull Island, and then it just kind of stayed like that.
I dig it. I dig
It
it.
was cool. No, I liked it a lot.
I thought
Yeah.
that scene was, I mean, it was kind of ridiculous, but it's kind of funny.
Yeah,
It kind of gave that comedic, like that comedy to
the comedic tone. So yeah, they finally get to Hong Kong. The pod doors open. They go out. They're trying to find their way around. And that's when they enter into this arena, this giant, like, open space, wondering what it is. And they can hear, right? They can hear like things behind the big doors because there's different creatures in each pot, or each, like, section, cell, I guess. And is this when when we see Mechagodzilla for the first time? We can say it now, chat. Mechagodzilla, like everyone was talking about before this film was released, they're like, Mechagodzilla is going to be in this film, and you were right. You were right. Yeah, I think most people knew Mechagodzilla was going to be.
Well, it
in
didn't
this.
help that a literal year beforehand they did a toy display for the movie and spoiled it in the toy reveal.
Yeah, it was in South America. It was a toy show. You can see, like, there's what looks like Mechagodzilla. It's these really grainy shots. It was great. It was fantastic.
So yeah, we see Mechagodzilla kind of powering up. And I like the design of this Mechagodzilla. I don't
He
know.
looks like he's put together with Lego bricks. That dorsal, the dorsal spine, like, that is my only takeaway. It's just the dorsal plates look like Lego pieces.
They're so, like, thin.
Like they're just like blocky.
Oh, I love how they have to show, like, it's like when Optimus Prime transforms for the first time in the Transformers movies. You had to watch, like, every little piece of him get into place.
Yeah.
And then you see him in his full front, shows him from the front. And then we see generic bad guy show up, and he's like, hey, henchman guy, Zarazawa, are you ready? And he's like, yeah, let's do this. Now, does it show that he's inside Kevin's head?
Yes.
Yeah. So you see Kevin's head, and if you don't know who Kevin is, anyone who's just joining us, this is one of King Ghidorah's heads.
The derpy head.
The derpy head.
It's the curious.
I know, but
The
he's so
Inquisitive.
derpy.
We're gonna call him we're calling him the derpy head. But yeah, so they pretty much programmed Kevin's head to control, like, so a human has to be in a chair, which then goes through like a neurological signals from Ghidorah's head, which then feeds to Mechagodzilla, which is how he controls it.
It's Pacific Rim minus Pacific Rim.
It's Pacific Rim without them having to do all the motions.
True. I call it Evangelion.
Boil it down, it's literally they turned Ghidorah into a supercomputer.
Mhm.
Yep.
That's really what they use.
Yeah. And so they see this, or like, and this is I hated this so much when it's like, what is that? And I think Bernie says one thing, and then Josh goes, no, that's Mecha Godzilla. And I'm like, why do you have to do that? We
It was
know.
like, how do you know?
It's Mecha.
It's treating us like idiots.
I hate that so much. Like if the bad guy said it, you know, then it makes sense because he's the one who helped create it. But it's this character who's never seen this thing before, and he's just like, no, it's Mecha Godzilla. And I was like, who wrote this movie? I want to smack him.
Why does he not have a muzzle?
Yeah, right. Well, all I have to do is say is like, all right, guys, we're doing test X amount on, Project Mechagodzilla or whatever they need. It's all they got to do. That's it. That's all they got to mention. It's like it's super easy to not make it sound cheesy and dumb as hell.
So crazy. So yeah. So they see Mechagodzilla. I call in my notes he's Mecha G.
That's right. That's right.
And they pretty much like release cell whatever it was. I don't remember what number it was. And the door is like being smashed onto, and then the door falls, and it's a skull crawler. And it's a quick one. This skull crawler has no chance. Literally, it tries to jump at Mecha G. He grabs the arms and then powers up. It's I don't know. I'm gonna call it his laser breath. And just rips this thing down the middle, and then it gets to a point where it runs out of juice. And they found out that they don't have enough power to sustain Mecha G, for a long period of time.
Running at like 60% capacity.
Yeah,
I believe that was the stat.
It was just like a bunch of they just took a whole shit ton of Priuses. They just
yeah.
It's your energy now, Mechagodzilla. Put the chat.
So yeah, not enough power. They need to find the energy in Hollowworth. And when but there's a signal that is sent out that Mecha G sends out that Godzilla responds to, and Godzilla knows where he's at. So he changes directions and is heading towards Hong Kong. Then we go back to Kong, and he opens up this temple, and as he's walking in, this is another shot. I understand this temple is huge. This is a massive temple, but still, this is another spot where I was like, the scale is just wrong. Like, it's just so wrong. Like, it shows the ships next to him, and he looks tiny. Like they got Kong's scale wrong. And it pissed me off because they're like, he's so much bigger in this film. It's like, no, he looks way bigger in Kong Skull Island than he does in this entire film. There is not one.
So I think he looks bigger in Kong Skull Island just because the island is so small, and all of the ravines and everything are so compact. So you have the scaling of him next to a mountainside, and it draws that. Whereas you put him in an open area, and it does make him look smaller.
So again, just against that, Umbra, it's the only reason I'm against that is because when the helicopters are flying in, I'm saying regular helicopters aren't that big, but there's they had the aircraft or the big helicopters that carry tons of people.
Yeah, they were,
and they looked super tiny against him. And then he's sitting on a ship, and he fits on a ship, and and the ships are huge. But the comparison to him on a ship to him fighting those helicopters. Now, granted, helicopters go on ships. There's not much difference to.
Oh no,
he's just sitting on a ship where when he was fighting these helicopters looked like ants.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
no,
the heaves in my eyes.
I was more looking at it from devil's advocate side.
Oh no, it's just that was my take on it. Was the scaling was wrong to me only because I took it off of the first movie where he made these things look like ants, and then he's sitting on a ship and they didn't look like ants anymore. Like he was sitting next to these things and they looked.
I fully get that. Because I mean, even if which we'll get to it in the scene, but even when the heave flies around his head, it doesn't look like the heave is much smaller than what his head is.
Right.
No. So yeah, he finds the temple, goes in. It's huge, massive. It's got Kong statues everywhere, and this is pretty much like a throne room, which is really cool. And there is an axe kind of just stabbed into a creature. It's a skeleton. He grabs it, and it's made up of a bone, and then of one of not I don't probably think of Godzilla's dorsal,
Godzilla's
but is a
relatives.
relative of Godzilla's.
It's like I think the carcass that it's in is actually one of Godzilla's relatives. That's what I
makes
think
sense.
they were trying to go with it.
I got some Sword in the Stone vibes here.
That's what I have written down.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, no, I should.
That's awesome.
He's
Because
not
when I know it's all in the scene, but whenever he goes to power up the axe, the light up.
Yeah, it looks like a relative of Godzilla. Oh,
Godzilla. Yeah, it's a Godzilla. Oh no!
Uh-oh.
Umbreon's frozen in place.
Dead. No.
Except for he looks like he's like DJing.
Oh no!
Oh boy. I wonder if he's still talking.
Intermission.
I don't know.
Go pee.
All right, if anybody needs to go to the bathroom, we'll step away right now. I'll say anything to chat.
I'm gonna get rid of my cans and go pee. Then I'll be right back.
He said his Discord just went yeet.
Oh.
Oh, we're getting him back. We're getting him back. Maybe. Chad, I hope you're all having a wonderful night. Thank you so much for being here. Professor Fitch, Bob. Sylvian Untamed, thank you so much for the follow. It didn't pop up on my stream, so I did not see it, but I saw it in my activity feed. So thank you so much for the follow.
He's maybe.
He said his Discord went eat.
I've had that happen.
It's fun. Kind of like what mine was doing before.
I've had the whole computer shut down in the middle of.
Oh, it's my favorite.
Yeah. Hey,
you're back.
Okay, so I got genuinely worried for a second because I made my comment, and then it was just everyone stoic, and I'm like, did nobody care about? Did nobody?
I can hear the stream in another somebody else.
Yeah, no, it was me. I
Oh,
was
it was you?
trying to make sure.
Oh, okay.
I originally thought my internet went down, so I was like, okay, hold on. No, okay, I can still hear and follow everything on the phone. So Discord just shit the bed.
Gotta love it. Sylvian, again, thank you for the follow and thank you for being here. Back.
Sylvian.
So what were you saying?
Okay, so I don't know what all you guys heard of that before Discord.
Not much. Not much.
Okay, so the pattern on the ground when Kong
goes
to power up the axe, it's a Godzilla.
Yeah, which is really cool. But we actually see a shot of him sitting on the throne with the axe, which is really cool. And this is where the scale kind of this was one shot of Kong where I was like the scale kind of fits. Like he looks gigantic in this scene, but then everything else he doesn't look great in my opinion.
So I'm gonna keep spitting out these weird little fact or trivia things because this fits with this.
Oh my god, you keep adding all this shit. It's gonna be another 3-hour long goddamn show.
You can't blame me and Dan this time.
No, okay, so these are really cool. So I have to. It's not that long. I only have 2 more. So there's this one and then one at the end.
I'll allow it this time.
The reason Godzilla ignored Kong and his parents when they were on Skull Island was that they were essentially in exile after losing the war. Godzilla laid claim to the Earth while the Kongs were confined to Skull Island for the rest of their lives. The Titans were smart enough to handle political exile.
That's really cool.
And I thought of that when he grabbed the axe. Well, now I think of it. Not when because I didn't know.
Well, you got to think with the storm being around it and stuff like that.
I thought that was pretty cool.
Oh, that's a pretty cool theory.
And when he charges up the axe, it's a Godzilla, meaning they dominated. Even though
sense of what the hell is this?
Yeah.
So, all right, I only have one more after this, but that's at the end. So go ahead.
So Kong sits on the throne. and yeah, okay, and then I must have wrote it twice, but then it says Kevin's head is found, so Godzilla gets called to Hong Kong, which we already said. And then Kong figures out that he can charge this axe. So then there's like a perfect cutout in the ground of where the axe could be laid. It gets laid down and it kind of glows blue, which then fills up this big, pretty much engraved picture of a Godzilla creature in the ground, which is really cool. That glows blue as well.
Figures out the east.
This though calls Godzilla. This pretty much kind of sends out an alert to Godzilla that Kong is
one
there.
of my favorite scenes. I love.
And boy, howdy, does he get to the bottom of it quick.
Yeah.
Hit,
But before we get to that part, we get to the part where all the useless humans get out of the ships and they're like, and then generic bad guy number 2 or bad woman number 2 gets out and she's like, she puts out this like drone thing that extracts the energy, which clearly this tiny bit of energy is easily transferred to, the Mecha Godzilla, which then, oh my God, what a stupid thing.
I didn't know you could data transfer power.
It's crazy. I don't understand it.
I think
bonkers.
what they say in the movie, and I could be remembering this wrong, but I'm pretty sure they say what they do is they analyze the energy source and they reproduce it.
That was really fast. Really fast. Like unbelievably fast.
Nice cybernetics you have there.
Yeah. And she's like, my dad owns, oh boy. My dad owns, this now. And it's like, what? Yeah, oh my God, I hate her so much.
It's kind of like the United States went to the moon.
Yeah.
Yeah, we on the moon now.
Yeah.
Apparently.
And so they try, so they're like, okay, you guys, we're going to hijack all the heaves and you guys are going to stay down here. And it's like, why? This is so dumb. This is just dumb bad guy crap that just pissed me off. Just why can't you all just go back? Like, you can be pissed off she took the energy source, but why does it all have to be like too bad, you guys have to stay. And it's like, I hate this. But then something happens where it alerts these, I call them, in my notes, are called turkey bats. Because they are just, they look like they're turkeys. They're terrifying. But they start swooping down, taking people out, and generic bad woman gets on her ship with her goons and start to take off. And Kong was like, nah, you ain't going nowhere, and literally grabs the heave with one hand and just crushes it.
Oh,
and I was like
a soda can.
And you want to know what's funny? It's the same thing that happens. I swear, every character, there's always one character in these films that does the same reaction right before they're gonna die. He's got the heave in his hand and she knows she's gonna die, and she just goes, shit. And then he crushes it. There is one character in every Monsterverse movie that does that before they die. Randa did it in Kong Skull Island right before he gets eaten. I don't remember. Somebody probably did.
Not my go-to word.
It seems like a common thing that somebody says before they die.
Oh, they're called Hellhawks, by the way. The birds.
Okay. I like turkey bats better, but I will.
Turkey bats is now canon.
Yep. Oh man. So they get caught, and they have to fight their way. Lind, Andrews, and Gia have to fight their way to get back into their heave. Then we go back.
Crushed.
Now, does Godzilla shoot the hole? Did Godzilla shoot the hole into the ground before we cut back to Hong Kong or with Bernie?
He does it already. That's what kind of triggers the bats to not be.
Okay. So we see Godzilla. He makes it to Hong Kong. He's doing his thing. He's destroying shit. And then he gets kind of that signal once Kong starts charging the axe that, he's down there. And so he literally charges up, does the cool charge up, and just shoots straight into the ground, all the way down perfectly to this throne room, which then gets the turkey bats all riled up, and everything happens there. We go back to Bernie, Madison, and Josh get caught. They find Kevin's head with Sarazawa in it, and they think like they're gonna get caught, but he's in like a trance when he's under, controlling this Mecha G. But they get caught because they enter into a certain area that there's a bunch of people on the other side. And then he tries to talk his way out of it, which is just so, oh man. Oh, I'm the maintenance guy. I'm here. Like, okay, dude.
It's not wrong, just
Right.
facility.
Yeah. So they get caught, and then we go back to Hollow Earth, or into the throne room where Godzilla shoots a hole into the ground, and then he roars. And then I think Kong looks up and roars or jumps in, whatever. And then they proceed to jump in. Kong jumps in, and the heave follows. And that is when round 2 starts between Godzilla and Kong.
Round 2, fight.
Yeah.
Yes.
And boy, this fight is, I thought the ship fight was amazing. This fight's even better. I love the neon on all the buildings, and them and the movement of Godzilla like through the buildings. He's crawling around like a lizard. Oh, so good. And Kong is more of in somewhat of his element, where he is able to climb and swing from the buildings, and just all the different motions that both of them have when they're fighting each other. So good. Like him jumping off the building with the axe as Godzilla shooting his atomic breath up, and he hits the axe, charges it up as he goes down and smokes. He hits Godzilla, and when Godzilla gets hit by the axe, it hurts him. It actually slices him open. So we figure out that, I guess, his own, something of his own kind can harm, is the only thing that really can harm him.
Can we not gloss over the fact that before this, that it shows people casually eating dinner dill while Godzilla is attacking Hong Kong?
I mean, I guess this is just a normal thing, right?
There's people in this tall building eating dinner, and like they're oblivious to everything that's going on, and then Godzilla walks by and they're like, oh, we should probably run now.
Well, you remember Jurassic World when the guy like goes back for his margaritas? Like, it's pretty important.
Yo, that was Jimmy Buffett, bro. Like he was getting his margarita from Margaritaville. Like you got to make sure you get those
margaritas.
Yeah, man, come on, man. Who cares a shit if there's pterodactyls behind you? You're freaking grabbing them and getting the hell out of there. During this fight is when we get the epic, bad guy conversation with Madison, Bernie and Josh, where it's the generic bad guy. I'm trying to be the savior of the world. I'm trying to make humans number one again. And that's when Mechagodzilla just starts to they're like, I don't think it's supposed to do that, right? Like it starts to like pick up, and it looks straight through the window. And they're like, yo, bro, you want to turn around? And he's like, I'm talking here. I'm giving my generic bad guy speech. Let me do it.
And then obliterated.
Yeah, and then he gets smoked.
Yeah, he gets what's coming to him too.
And so then after that happens, we continue with the Godzilla and Kong fight. Godzilla gets the upper hand, and pretty much pins Kong to the ground and shows his dominance. Like, listen, I am the king. You stay down. Don't get up.
Dislocates his shoulder too.
Oh, right. Yes. Big deal there. He literally smokes. Does he throw him against a building, which then knocks his shoulder out?
Yes.
So.
Yeah. And again, the pain that Kong has is he's like, it happens and he's like holding his shoulder and trying to still fight.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
And then Godzilla pins him to the ground, and steps on him and presses down on his chest. And then they roar at each other, and Kong, still trying to show he's not given up completely, roars back, but he's done.
It's the Dragon Ball screams.
Mm. And Godzilla proceeds to walk away. And then we go back to Apex after Mecha G destroys. Oh, how fast does it go from like dark to like night to day? It's so fast. So fast. No.
And so at this point, I am officially retitling him. He is no longer Mecha G. He is now Mecha Ghidorahzilla.
Oh,
Yes,
okay, yeah.
yes.
So
Because like that's his entire sit and being is now being fused with Ghidorah, as if Mechagodzilla is not horrible enough.
Right. So yeah, so we go back to Apex and everybody's kind of getting back up again, and Bernie's like, "Oh man, I really wanted to hear the end of that bad guy speech." And I actually laughed out loud at that part. I thought that was a great line. Yeah, so it's like, oh, why is, and then we see, is it Sarazawa gets electrocuted in the chair, and then
that happens before he dies, because when they go to power it on, it absolutely just it fries him.
Yeah, pretty sure he's dead.
Yeah. And so pretty much the whole thing is that Ghidorah's consciousness, right? Like takes back over of the head, which then takes over Mecha G or Mecha Ghidorah, Godzilla, or whatever we want to call him now. So it becomes powered and everything. And let's see. And then Mechagodzilla breaks out of the containment area, and it's bright as hell. It's like the middle of the day, which is weird because it was just dark as hell. And Godzilla's like, "Oh shit, that's what's been calling me. I'm gonna fight you." And it's Godzilla gets his ass kicked. Like, he does not. There's not one point where it's like, "Oh man, Godzilla gets some." No, he is getting tossed around, and then we as they are fighting, we get the shot of Kong kind of just laying there, like pretty much dead or dying, and Gia is very concerned, so she's doing her thing, and they're like, Lind and Andrews are like, well, we need to figure something out, and then Lind goes, "Oh, well, we have some." Or generic bad lady said that the Heaves could have enough power to power Vegas, or whatever the hell the line was. And they're like, "I have an idea."
A damn defibrillator.
Yep, they are going to use the Heave as a defibrillator and get Godzilla back, or get Kong back up. Sorry, I keep freaking saying Godzilla.
I like that that's a feature on the device. Like, it's like, oh, I just flip these switches and do this, and oh, it's gonna work.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Godzilla's getting ragdolled across Hong Kong.
He's getting tossed. The Godzilla is like, what is going on here? So Lin has the idea to use the Heave to jumpstart Kong back to life, and he does it, and it's one of those scenes where they show it in slow motion of him they show him like fiddling around with the thing, and then he's doing the slow motion run away from the Heave as it like goes off. And
I want to know how he got out of it so fast.
I don't know. It was crazy. Yeah, I mean, you can't kill him.
Like, he goes from the ship to the ground in like a snap. Like,
yeah.
Well, he's a Skarsgård. He clearly has mystical powers.
I know.
Clearly.
I mean,
he's Eric.
I mean, his brother. I mean, his brother was pretty much like a space demon. So.
Well, he was a vampire.
Who was it? Oh yeah. Well, his brother was Pennywise. So.
Yeah. Oh, I love those guys. Those two.
Yeah. Well, his dad was in the Marvel movies, in like Thor and stuff. I digress. So Kong gets jump started, and Gia then has to convince Kong that Godzilla is not his enemy, that he needs to help him. And he's literally pointing over there, and it's just showing Mecha Godzilla just like grabbing him, Godzilla by the tail, and just like throwing his ass around. And Kong's like, no, I'm going to enjoy this. You got some big ass bags of popcorn? Because I love this. This motherfucker almost killed me.
He whooped my ass, and he's getting ass kicked.
Yeah, what do you want me to do? Right. Yep. And but then he finally convinces him to do it, and then right before he goes into battle, he literally runs up to a building, throws his shoulder into it to pop his shoulder back in place, and boy, I felt that. As he did that, I felt it in my shoulder. I was like, oh god.
More amazing human as Kong moments where he's like, like builds up to it and just like shoulder charges it.
Right.
I love it.
And then
It's gonna hurt.
yeah, and so then Kong runs off, and this is one of my favorite scenes of this fight. Is the scene where Mecha whatever, we're just gonna call him Mecha G because it's easier that way. Is he's trying to pry Godzilla's mouth open so he can do the thing that Godzilla is most known for doing, and right as he's about to charge up and do it, Kong jumps on him, grabs his mouth, and shoots it, or points his head up so it shoots straight up into the sky. I love it. It's so good. I just love the throwbacks of like, you remember that time Godzilla did this to that guy? Yeah, well, they're gonna keep trying to do it to him. And I thought it was a really cool scene. And then it's just literally them going back and forth trying to, they're getting thrown around still, even with Kong in the fight. They're still getting thrown around. And then we shoot back to Bernie, Madison, and Josh. And they're like, we need to hack into the system. And Josh is like, I can do it. And then he keeps failing at it. And he's like, what are you doing? And he's like, bro, I took an HTML class. And I was like, I hate this.
Summer camp for third
At
grade.
summer camp.
Yeah,
Yes.
so dumb. And then he's like, they got locked out of the computer. So what does he do? He takes the flasks of whiskey and pours it into the. God, why does this have to be the way that Mecha G gets like all fucking weird? Why did that have to be the thing?
Because essentially he poured it on the keyboard. I'm pretty sure if I pour coffee on my keyboard, my computer's still working
The
just
computer
fine.
just turns sentient. Like,
So, how this scene should have played out is I should have I can't figure out the computer. And he's like, wait, I've got this pipe. And he's going to unscrew it. And he's going to
That's a
throw each
powerful
half
pipe.
at the end of it. And then the computer's going to explode. Somebody's like, wow, that's a powerful pipe.
oh
reference.
man. So yeah.
Sorry.
So yeah, that oh god. So that
Mecha G
causes
is now offline.
yeah, so Mecha G is now offline, meaning he is vulnerable and easy to defeat. And so as Mecha, I think does Mecha Godzilla have Kong like kind of pinned, right?
Yeah, him
And
Godzilla.
Godzilla is like on the ground and he holds the axe up and Godzilla shoots the axe. And then Kong proceeds to just destroy Mecha G by literally hacking all of his limbs off. And then does he like he cuts him right down the middle, right? And he pops his head off, yeah. Because that's how it's gotta be.
Which is a reference to the first two Mechagodzilla films.
Yeah.
It's how Mechagodzilla should always die. The head should be removed. Always.
Oh man. So yeah, Mecha G is destroyed. Godzilla and
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
yeah. So cool. He's like covered in like the oil and stuff like that, which is awesome. And then Kong does, something every person would do after they have an epic fight. He literally is just like, I'm done, dude. There's nothing left in me. I'm spent.
Like Game 6 Jordan.
Yeah, just and but he gets up just enough for him and Godzilla to kind of have a respectful moment, like, listen, let's just leave each other alone type deal. Just you do your thing, I'll do my thing.
Godzilla's like, all right, cool. I'm still ready to whoop your ass. And Kong's just like,
Yeah,
nah,
he's
man,
like, I'm good, dude. Let's just not do this.
So here comes my last trivia fact for Dan and Umbreon, because I don't know anything about this, but I thought this. Kong once again shoved something down Godzilla's throat during their battle, this time an axe handle rather than a tree like he did in King Kong versus Godzilla in 1962.
eat your vegetables.
Oh my god. Oh man. So yeah, so they do their kind of respectful, like, all right, we're just gonna kind of part ways. Then we see Mark again. Hey Mark, what's up? Oh, we forgot to mention that Mark ran into Zavala from Destiny for 20 seconds. No one would have noticed, except for when he opened his mouth and said something. And I was like, oh shit, I love his voice.
Yeah,
I was like, oh my god, it's that guy. And then we never see him again. Yeah, he's in the opening credits. Like, he's credited to be in the movie. Like, and I hate when they do that, because then you're like, oh my god, I'm so excited to see this person. And then you see him for literally 20 seconds and it's over.
So I can't make it clever. Like,
Yeah, so Mark shows up again, runs into Madison, finds Madison, Bernie, and Josh.
Always in a crowd people always.
How?
Yeah,
Hong Kong
always.
is huge.
Right.
Like seriously.
But you have that sense, you have that sense. You can find anybody that is a relative or a loved one.
I want to know where the sense is because I don't have any of this.
I'm always in a crowd like, Mom!
You have to
I know.
activate your hollow Earth.
I
sense.
like turning 26 this year, and I go in the grocery store alone, and I start yelling. What the hell's going
Mom!
I can't find my mom.
Oh man.
Fuck is the
Okay,
milk?
so since we're at the end of the movie. Something that you glossed over during the Godzilla and Kong fight. There's a scene once Godzilla finally lands that atomic breath blow on Kong, and he falls to the ground. Godzilla has this evil ass, genuine smile on his face, like Thanos. Like
when he's standing over him.
No, it's after he hits him and Kong falls to the ground.
Yeah, he's
Like,
like,
he has this giant ass smile. He's just like, good.
Yeah.
which again, Toho is very against. They do not like Godzilla emoting. They're very against that. He's supposed to be like just a force of nature kind of thing, and they managed to squeeze that in. It's kind of cool.
Meanwhile, as we've watched him literally flying dropkick somebody and then
And
check
dance.
the piece.
And
yeah,
he has danced
he
before.
did dance.
Yeah, man. I can't whew, that's some quality filmmaking right there.
70s, man.
Gotta love it, man. Gotta love it. So yeah. So we get the final, and then after all that, Bernie's like, "Hey, Mark, can you be on my podcast?" I'm like, "We didn't need that," but whatever.
Yeah, like, shut up.
He tells Josh to shut up, which I liked.
That was the only reason he needed to be in the movie, was to make that one line, like deliver it with passion. Like, shut up,
Yeah. Poor Mark. He was just funny thing. Also, another little tidbit is Kyle Chandler. This is his second film that he's been in with Kong. First
He was
being
in the Jack Black one.
he was in the Peter Jackson King Kong movie from 2005. So, but there is no scene where he is in. There is not a scene where he is in with Kong, so it's not as cool. But yeah, we get that final shot of Godzilla swimming away because we need that in every Godzilla film. Well, except for King of the Monsters, he's standing and does his thing. But you get that, that nice swim away shot. And then we go to Hollow Earth, where Monarch has set a base down there, and that is where Kong lives. And and he's swinging around, doing his thing, and that's it. That is Godzilla versus Kong. Woo! What a journey this has been. And boy, oh boy, watching this movie a second time has really put it into perspective that it is not as good as I thought it was after the first time seeing it. I saw this for the first time, and I had this at the top of my list, and it's not there anymore. It is not even number 2 for me, but we'll get to that shortly. For now we're gonna do all of our. Dan, stop breaking stuff. We're gonna do our lists. Starting off with what do we do? Bad guys. We'll do the bad guys. Ranking the bad guys of the Monsterverse.
Do we need to go person by person? I think we can all collectively say it simultaneously.
Just group them all together.
That it's last.
Yeah.
100%. There wasn't even I don't even think there was a bad guy in Godzilla 2014, but that was even. But these were the worst. They were generic garbage.
I still don't even remember their names.
It's like, we need a bad guy.
Generic garbage.
I do,
Yeah.
but I'm not even gonna say it. They don't need any more. They don't need any more.
Like
They don't need to be any part of this show anymore.
Well, they've gone through all these all these movies of bad guys, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna check this box. Oh, we're
Right.
gonna check this
Yep,
box."
exactly,
And they don't
100%.
even do it well. It's like just stick to one thing,
Yep.
do it well, not everything.
Fun fact: I have an accredited villain that I've played in an actual produced movie. Still think I did better. Like it's not even remotely close. Like it is
But it's
poor.
more than likely.
You're not giving yourself much credit, dude. Come on. You had to do better.
I got shot and killed in the middle of the street. Still think it was a better.
What is this movie? I need to be told about this.
I'll fill you in.
Yeah, fill me in later. But I need to see this.
It's atrocious. It's a 20-minute short film, but I mean it's rough.
Your brother is frozen in time. I just want to. Oh, there he goes. Okay.
No, he was frozen in thought.
He was just still. He was just still.
There.
He's like, I'm practicing my skills.
All right. So we all agree that these terrible bad guys and gals are last on our list. Now let's go to the bad monsters of the Monsterverse. I believe we have Ghidorah as number 1. Number 2 is the Skull Crawlers, and number 3 is the Mutos. So where are we putting? Do we just put Mechagodzilla? As
He's the only real bad guy.
Yeah, because Godzilla was never bad. He was just doing what he was pretty much, that's his natural reaction.
Right.
He was doing alpha things.
He
Right.
do.
Yeah.
All right. So, okay, they can start if they want, but
All right, we'll start with Umbreon.
1.
Mechagodzilla at number 1. Okay.
He ragdolled the literal shit out of Godzilla. And Godzilla is the end all be all. He ragdolled him worse than Ghidorah did in King of the Monsters. Absolute runaway just. I mean, he did it, point blank period, end of the day. I'm not even gonna try to play into the he shut down to the computer. I'm leaving that as that is BS.
Yeah.
I don't buy into that. As a monster in itself, absolutely clear number 1 to run away to me.
Aradel?
I'm putting him 2 only because he had to use Ghidorah,
Oh.
his power, to kick the shit out of Godzilla.
That's a technicality.
Yes, it's a technicality, but it's still Ghidorah that has powered him. So that's why I'm putting him at 2, because he had to use Ghidorah's power.
Right, Dan?
Saying.
So we got 1 for 1 and 1 for 2. So what do you got, Dan?
A number 1. A number 1, top of the list.
Get that out
by
of here.
a margin. I don't care. They could have stomped his ass into oblivion.
Oh,
and I still would be.
him.
Yes, Mechagodzilla is my favorite Toho, if you would call it a kaiju because it's a robot. Anyway, it is my favorite.
Well, Ghidorah's
I don't
an
care.
alien.
I liked the design. I loved the crudeness of the design of him. I just hate how everything has to be like Transformers giblets, mechanical giblets.
It's got to be in separate pieces.
Yeah, no. But I like the way they do it. It looks crude, which is how humans would make it. He looks awkward. He moves weird. He's actually huge because he's always so slouched over. You see the scene where he like rears up and he's fucking massive. But anyway, I love him. He's my favorite villain. Ghidorah number 2, obviously, but he's my favorite villain just for that reason. And secondly, to go to my wife's defense here, I think another reason that Godzilla just got absolutely shit canned by Mechagodzilla is, he just had a pretty big knockout drag out with Kong, like right before this, like 10-second transition between night and day. I imagine it wasn't really all that long, but he did have a pretty intense fight. And he probably was not at max power.
And Mechagodzilla threw pretty much everything.
Oh,
the
God,
shoulder rockets, the hand rockets.
He's
he took
because he wasn't in it just to fool around. He was in it to end the fight. Like he was like, I'm going in to end this.
Yeah.
He threw everything short of absolute zero.
Yeah, exactly. Which is the old
he was fully equipped. Nemesis?
I'm gonna have to put him at number 1 because my number 1 before was the Skull Crawlers, and I can't. I mean, the design and everything.
Yeah, but you got to go based on this list.
No. What?
I understand what your list is, but you got to go based on what our final list is. So don't go by the.
Did you let me keep talking, or are you going to talk over me?
I'm going to talk over you and tell you how this works.
Brotherly love. Yes.
All I'm going to say is that I did not like the way that they defeated him, like with the whole computer thing. I thought that was stupid, and I did not like that he was not. I didn't think he was in the movie enough. I don't know. I just like after seeing him and how badass the design was and everything with like the hand rockets, shoulder rockets. Like I wanted a little bit more of him. I thought he was badass.
Godzilla should have turned himself into a magnetic force. Then he would have been.
Yeah, my vote's not going to matter because I was going to put Mechagodzilla at number 2. I liked Ghidorah. I liked the whole fight between Godzilla and Ghidorah and the whole, like, especially with how long Ghidorah was in that film and all the build up and everything to it. Like, yeah, Mechagodzilla was a build up to him, but I felt like it was just so quick. and I didn't like how quick it was. The design was really cool. The whole fight was awesome. Him throwing Godzilla around like he was nothing was awesome. But I just liked the build up with Ghidorah, and then that final showdown, which then ends with one of the coolest versions of Godzilla ever.
So it essentially is Batman versus Superman Doomsday, Monsterverse edition.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, I would put him at number 2, but it's 3 against 2. So the new list is Mechagodzilla number 1, King Ghidorah at number 2, Skullcrawlers number 3, and the Mutos number 4. And that is the final list for that. And our final one, we had a list for like protagonists in this in these films, but there was just, this one was like, I don't know who the main character was. Like, I guess you could put like Gia, Dr. Lind, and Dr. Andrews.
Those are the only ones that mattered.
Okay,
Yeah.
so where would you put? So right now, I think we have, I don't even know. I know that Brody is number 4. He's going to permanently stay there.
He should be, like, we
and
don't
we
have
had-
10 people, but he should be.
So
way-
I think we had just pretty much everyone in Kong Skull Island is number 1. Everybody in Godzilla King of the Monsters at number 2, and Brody at number 4. So where are we putting? We'll just say everybody in Godzilla versus Kong.
I didn't like the people, so
Yeah, I would say, yeah. We just say number 3.
yeah.
Unfortunate.
Number 1.
So
Oh no!
Okay,
No! Stop it!
hear me the hell out and hear where I'm coming from. We all have different opinions. Just hear me out.
I'm gonna throw up.
I grew up on
Are you gonna-
really cringy
I'm gonna yes.
Godzilla human characters. I love shitty comedy. Like that is one of my favorite movie
Can't
genres.
do it.
I love that very campy comedy. Leave Julian. Leave him at home.
Leave
Fuck
all
him.
of them. Leave all 3 of those characters. Goodbye.
I love Brian.
I do
love-
too.
so
I do.
he did well to me. Like I like that crock pot. He is this version's Randa. When you break it down,
Yeah.
he is this movie's Randa. And I mean, as a consensus, we all liked Randa from Kong Skull Island.
I love John Goodman. So
So I mean, like he brings that fresh air of just comic relief and just very mentally unstable. Clearly, so I loved the dynamic with G. Like I loved the main group of characters. I wish we would have had more of Coach Taylor. Absolutely, I think we all could use more Kyle Chandler in our lives. I think that goes without saying.
yeah, he's really good.
Said of the main antagonist, the only person I really had a problem with was just Julian Danielson's kid. Like Josh could just fuck Josh.
I mean, the
So
thing I liked about
agree.
Josh was that he everything he reacted to was genuine. Like, it's an actual genuine reaction to what the hell, like, if you were in that situation yourself. For me, at least, I'd be like,
Pretty much the viewers.
what the hell is happening? Like, why am I here? I don't want to be here. But yeah,
I know the official list is Kong Skull Island was number 1. I personally put it in when we did that review. I did not care for the characters that much. So when I'm comparing these two, like they are a head and shoulder above to me. This is not going to stand. I'm pretty sure this is going to end up being a consensus 3. But I personally loved this group of characters, minus Josh.
okay. Well, the final list for this is Kong Skull Island. Everybody in Kong Skull Island. Number 2 is everybody in Godzilla King of the Monsters. Number 3 is everybody in Godzilla versus Kong. And then number 4, do we even put him at number 5? I feel like he can't be anywhere near anyone.
It is not
Okay.
4th place. It is the Brody place.
It's the Brody
Yeah.
place. And and it's funny because that's my child's name, which is.
I just love Gia.
But we're going to
so
talk about
much.
cooler Brodies next week. But yeah,
The
so
The
that's
reason
list.
for your child's
Yes,
name,
the real
not
reason behind my
his.
child's
Yeah.
name.
Actually, let me rework that because his name was Ford Brody. So instead of 4th place, it's 4th place.
Yes,
Right.
there
Yeah,
we go.
Ford
I like it. I like that better.
We
All right.
workshop
The final tally or the final list is ranking the Monsterverse films. For this podcast, the list right now is number 1, Kong Skull Island, Number 2, Godzilla King of the Monsters. And number 3, Godzilla 2014. Umbreon, start us off.
You're gonna hate me.
He's gonna say one.
He's gonna say one.
This
That was-
was what I wanted in a movie. It was not character driven. It was monster mash, beatdown, brawl, royale. It delivered on that. It gave us incredible fight scenes. It was very upfront. Like, hey, this is not a character movie. This is a monster fight movie, and it delivered. That was all I wanted from it. I did not go in with high expectations for human characters. I wanted Monkey Lizard. I got Monkey Lizard.
Okay.
It's
So
a
we
weird
got-
thing to want.
Yeah.
Woke
Monkey
up this
Lizard.
morning, I
Monkey,
wanted Monkey Lizard.
Monkey Lizard. All right.
The 62 movie is one of my top 5 favorite Godzilla movies of all time. So I already knew what I had my expectations, and it went above and beyond my expectations. So I genuinely, as a fan,
We got iRobot over there.
Sorry.
No, we're not
Sorry.
making fun
No,
of Umbreon.
no,
We're
no,
just
no. We
No,
just
nope.
we just watched the original, and half the time his arms are like really
No,
long.
dude, that would have made the movie. If there were some scenes where his arms are longer and they're like short,
And he's like running like this.
there truly is no consistency at all.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
It's great.
So like I said,
Alright.
I'm putting one. I know that's gonna get thrown away, but I have my reasons.
All right. Aradella.
I put it at 2 just because I was not to say that I wasn't a big fan of Mechagodzilla's design. I hated his mouth area.
His mouth to eye ratio is kind of weird.
So
wasn't
it looked like before he did his first roar thing, I swear I thought his eyes and his mouth were like this far apart. Like you don't see that. You just see his eyes and then the next area that looks like a mouth. And then it pans down to his mouth. And I was like, oh, that's his mouth.
Well, his whole body's awkward.
I know.
as
His
well.
whole
I mean,
body looks scrunched. Like
it's weird.
it just looks
It's almost pug-like.
yes, it is.
It
It is.
really
It's a pug. It's like a pug. It's like everything is too scrunched together. But I get that it's because humans made him. So they're going to go off what is more aerodynamic.
I think it just looks
But
like
it
giblets to
just
me, but-
it looked too like
Too puggy.
Yeah.
like everything was just like, oh, we've got this part, so we're gonna put this here. Oh, we've got this line around, we're gonna put this here. But Gia did
It's like a junkyard.
She-
lizard.
exactly. It's like they took all these random parts that they had laying around and they're like, oh, this looks fine. We're just gonna keep it. But that's the only reason. I thought it was great. CGI was great. I love the shot where they were flying the heave out of the hole that Godzilla made, and the shot where they come out and Eric Northman, I don't remember his character's name, takes the ship and goes banks right. You see Godzilla's face. You see Kong.
That
he-
sound was awesome. in the
He
theater.
misses everything and saves everybody. I thought that shot was just amazing.
All right.
But
Dan?
I could go on and on and on.
Regardless of everything I said about Mechagodzilla, I still put this at 3rd.
Ouch.
Because the reason is because it did fights, the action, all that's great. I love how they did Kong. I love how they did Godzilla. I love how they did Mechagodzilla. I just don't. The human element's not horrible because obviously I'm the same way as Umbreon. I know what I'm getting into, right? Like I know when I watch those movies, it's not high on the list, right?
Just throw them away.
It's just like there were like large portions. Like the first time was fine. Like I really enjoyed the movie, and then the second time I watched it, I'm just like this, like some of these scenes I just don't give a shit about. Like it's like I
Yeah.
said, the whole other half with the whole element with Godzilla. The only thing they gave us was the skull crawlers, and we got to see Mechagodzilla earlier. Other than that, they could have left all that out and just did some weird, like, oh, let's run some tests on this, and then that would have been fine. The problem, I think, the biggest problem with this film is the fact that it was ready prior to COVID. Like it was ready for a 2020 release. The film was ready for it, and then like we're gonna go back and change some stuff. And I really wanted to know what the film looked like beforehand because I have a feeling they butchered the shit out of this movie.
I said I feel like they probably spent the last year polishing up and cleaning up some CGI scenes. That's what I kind of feel. I mean, you have an entire year. You're probably polishing some things up.
But see, the thing that makes me wonder is why is because of after how the last film did. And then like a lot of things, as I mentioned, were drastically different. As I wonder if they went back and did reshoots or re-edits and did all, because I know I've heard there's a bunch of the film that is missing in this movie.
I believe they did do reshoots, and yeah, like there's a large chunk of the movie sitting on the floor.
Yeah, because I would have loved that they just brought Jonah back as the villain. Apex doesn't make any sense to me being there. It's just a body to make Mechagodzilla.
Jonah had the head to begin with at the end of the movie.
And they never mentioned that. They just see him, they
head.
bought it. And they never mentioned like that they sold it to him. He's never in the movie. There's just so many loose plot holes or alterations or changes that I get it. There's no consistency for the most part in the 2014 movies. Like this Monsterverse. There's always change, which happens. But I noticed a lot in these, and admittedly the old Godzilla stuff's not consistent either. So I get that. I'm not like, but it's just there's some real big stuff, especially when you start flat out changing characters, like Mark Russell or whatever his name is, character. Like he just completely out of left field. Like, well, I lost my wife, so I'm going to forget my college education and everything I based my life upon on top of it. It's stuff like that bothers me. And I feel, what's her name? His daughter.
Millie Bobby
Millie,
Brown.
thank you. I feel Madison. I like the conspiracy theorist guy. And I liked her, but I just felt like that whole group should have just been one thing together, all doing everything. Because she was already part of Monarch. She would have known about, like, they should have just done it together and worked it that way and not had two separate plot lines, one that achieved almost nothing, random ass villains that made no sense. And it just wasted characters. And like I said, I don't mind it not being important, but I hate the fact that it's just bad. It was just like badly executed. Like it's just like I feel like they cut shit out that would have made more sense because they wanted those lower runtime, and the movie still feels like it drags on longer than the other one.
But if that were the case, she's his daughter. She would know how Godzilla should act.
Exactly, she was there.
So she shouldn't be a conspiracy theorist. She should know that that's how he's going to act.
But she makes sense the whole time. She even says, like, oh, hey, this is a threat display. But he's the one that's disregarding it. He's the one acting entirely
he's the one like, he's just bad. And you're like, what?
But it's not necessarily conspiracy theory. She knows that this is going to happen. Like, because of the way he should be acting.
Yeah. But they should just change his character to be like, I'm too busy with my job. I ain't got time for this shit. That would have solved the whole problem.
He is busy. Not that
get tied up. The snippets from King of the Monsters. Yeah, hey, the Mothra egg that was found.
Yeah,
would have been nice.
Nobody mentioned that. All the other kaiju just randomly they killed them off. Like it just makes
I hate that part.
Did Godzilla kill them all?
Why? That doesn't make sense.
I'm so confused. He literally he pretty much shows like he's the alpha at the end of King of the Monsters, like pretty much, listen, I'm not going to kill you, but like you step out of line. And now it's like every time another kaiju shows up, he's got to go kill him. And you're like, what?
And they spent the last couple films establishing he's not malevolent. Like he's not vicious. He doesn't kill things to kill things.
Yeah. I don't know.
So anyway, that's why I have it at 3. I still love the fight.
So we have
the fights are great, the homages, but whatever.
Oh boy, this is getting spicy. We have a 1, a 2, and a 3. So Nemesis, what do you got?
All right, I'm gonna have
to 4.
No.
I would have disconnected.
I'm gonna have to put it number 2, and the reason is, I feel like, for one, I just connected with the people in Kong Skull Island more, and I connect with everything in a movie, and if I don't connect with all of it, then I always put the one I connect with more ahead of it. But also, I feel like a lot of things in this movie were there were some parts that like we're talking about that were not needed, and there's also other parts that were just too scrunched. It was kind of like it was the shortest movie in the Monsterverse series, and there's just some parts they could have maybe extended a little bit longer just to make it a little bit more
splatter stuff.
Yeah, and there's like the Mechagodzilla, like I don't know much about it like they do. And I
People are gonna be
like
so confused.
no, I get it. But you distracted me and I lost my train of thought.
I'm sorry.
No, Mechagodzilla, I don't know I mean, obviously Ardella and Dan, they know a lot, and Umbreon, they know so much about. I wanted it a little bit more of him. I feel like he was too scrunched in this short period of time where I thought he was like he was kind of a junkyard dog, but I thought it was badass the things he was doing, but it was over in 5 minutes. I mean, he fought and he was gone. It was like, and then he dies from whiskey. So, I mean,
he dies from whiskey.
Is there a better way to go out?
I mean, no, but I mean,
for a giant mechanical Godzilla, come on.
For a person that hasn't watched all of the Toho and all that stuff, I wanted to enjoy some Mechagodzilla, and I got him for about 9 minutes and 37 seconds.
No, it wasn't even 9 minutes. It was a minute and a half. That's literally, we got him for a couple minutes. That was, that was about it.
He's got worse deaths. Don't worry. He's gone out in worse ways.
I don't think yeah. So we have, so I'm going to put this at number 2 as well. I for one, I think I'm more for Kong than I am for Godzilla anyways. I love Kong as a character in the 2 films that he was in. I love the way he emotes. I love the way, like, you feel for him on an emotional standpoint, especially, in Kong Skull Island, just him having to be the protector of that island, and these people are coming in, like, just causing issues, and he's doing all he can do to protect, the island. And, the way that he reacts to being injured, and the connections he makes with certain characters, especially Gia in this film. But, like, I just enjoyed watching, like, I love Godzilla in all the films he's in. I do. I think he's awesome. But I just connect more with Kong. So I'm going to definitely put this at number 2. I liked the whole build up in Kong Skull Island more throughout the entire movie. I like the characters, all the characters in those movies, except for Samuel L. Jackson, of course. But I've said that before, which is weird to say because I love Samuel L. Jackson. But I have to agree. Like, there was just not enough Mecha Godzilla. I wanted more. Like, I did not like that we had to have this build up and then they fight for 2 minutes and then it's over. And he dies in the dumbest way. Like, in my eyes, I mean, from what I've seen, I know you guys say he's got worse deaths, but his death in this movie sucked. I hated it. I liked the whole fact that, like, Kong just fucking destroys him with his axe, which is really cool. But the fact that that it was because he gets disconnected from a goddamn stupid kid pouring whiskey on a computer. Like, come on, man. It's dumb.
It's a $400 bottle of whiskey, might I add.
I don't
From his
give a
wife
shit. It's
that
fucking
died.
stupid.
Like, I'm sorry, if I'm his character, I'm beating the shit out of a kid. Like,
yeah.
You waste my last whiskey from my wife for this?
Yeah.
Nope.
I'd rather die. Give me the whiskey.
And the reason I put this at 2 instead of 3, because I actually, halfway through this podcast, I actually had it at number 3, but I moved it up to number 2 because I love the fights. The fights between Godzilla and Kong are so good in this movie. And I mean, the fights that in King of the Monsters were really good, but it was just everything was so drawn out in that movie, where I just like it was, it was kind of to the point with the Godzilla and Kong fights. And then we get, some more story, and then they meet up and do their thing again. I just like that more. I like the fights better. I think that's what puts it at number 2 for me. So yeah. So we have 3 for 2, 1 for 1, and 1 for 3. So our new list, final list right now, until another Monsterverse movie comes out at some point, maybe down the road. There is
Son of Kong.
There is a Son of Kong movie. It's a rumor right now. It's a rumor. I don't think it has not been solidified yet by Legendary. I know that Adam Wingard is in talks to direct the film. But I mean, if that's the case, I'm very excited for this. Go ahead.
Did you say Son of Kong?
Yes.
Yes. If we get a Son of Kong, I damn sure better get a Son of Godzilla, because I need some Godzuki in my life.
Oh, not Godzuki. Get that shit out of here.
No, I want Godzuki.
Oh man. All right, so our final list for the Monsterverse is number 1, Kong Skull Island. Number 2, Godzilla vs. Kong. Number 3, Godzilla, King of the Monsters. And number 4, Godzilla 2014. I want to thank our guests for being here, DNA for being here for all 4 episodes of the Monsterverse, and Umbreon joining us the last episode and this episode. So thank you both, or all 3 of you, I should say, for being here. What's that?
So I genuinely thank you for bringing me on here, and I look forward to the next time you call upon my services to help break down and deliver skating
to dissect. Hell yeah! So yes, thank you all for joining. You guys are amazing.
Looking for the opportunity.
Looking forward to having you all on again, Nemesis. I will see you next week as we start Jaws in review.
He's like, you have no choice.
Oh. Hey, this was something we both talked about doing, so he better not ditch me yet. So yes, next week we are going to be starting Jaws in review. So next Sunday we are doing Jaws.
That I'm excited for that one.
So exciting.
Yeah, I'm ready to watch. I'm ready to watch.
It's going to be a good time. So next week's episode will just be me and Nemesis. It's literally, I think it's going to be me and Nemesis for the duration of Jaws in review. Maybe towards the end, maybe if Dan wants to come out for like Jaws the Revenge, I know it's a great movie. We need to talk about it.
Get him with the boat.
It's a little miniature boat and a little toy shark. Spoiler alert, chat. So yeah, we will see you all next week, Sunday, next Sunday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. We also will be doing a Discord movie night where we'll be showing Jaws. So if you have never seen Jaws, or you want to watch Jaws with me, or me and Nemesis will be watching it, but we'll try to get that all set up so you guys can watch it with us. Yeah, that's what we're going to be doing. So yeah, next Sunday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time will be our next show. Like I said, we're going to be putting this on podcast services hopefully this week. We will let you know what services they'll be on so you guys can listen to them if you can't watch the streams or can't watch the VODs, or watch them on YouTube, which they will be uploaded there as well. Other than that, I hope everybody has a fantastic night. Thank you for joining us, and goodbye. I really wish I had like a Godzilla roar to exit out of this.
We wanted a robot dance on the way out, so
Bye-bye.